the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and there it is. Andy Galle becomes just the second man ever to strike out 100 batters in his Grip and Rip Baseball League career. A tremendous moment for Andy Galle, and he is keeping the baseball.
Engler at 99, kicks and deals the 0-2. Swing and a miss, he got him, and with that, Josh Engler has struck out 100 batters in his Grip and Rip Baseball League career. Just the third to ever do it. Shares a hug with his friend Eric Grisham there. The century mark for Josh Engler. Roark at 99 for the career. A 2-strike count here. The 1-2 to Brock Chaffin. Swing and a miss, and Roark just got number 100, and he falls off the mound. In doing so, he could be hurt from that, but that career of Branson Showmen pitcher Cole Roark, what did he sacrifice in order to do it?
Acme Towing Company. That's too far away.
Let Henry's do it.
Nah, we're ready to close.
Let Henry's do it.
Henry's is ready to take your call right now. From compacts to semis, Henry is here to help 24/7. Save yourself the hassle and make us your first call. Henry's gets there fast, offering multiple locations to serve the Ozarks. When you're stuck on the side of the road, make the right call. Let Henry do it.
You know the meaning of dedication. The early mornings and the late nights spent pursuing your dream. The commitment and passion to turn those dreams into reality. That spirit of dedication is why Central Bank is always there, working behind the scenes, helping you navigate those twists and turns in your journey with solutions that are tailored to meet your business needs. Central Bank, we do business better.
Baseball is America's pastime. And friends, now more than ever, it's important to hold on to our traditions. There's a rumbling in the Ozarks. Baseball is a tradition that softens the hard blows that life can sometimes give us. Traditions that bind us as families. It binds us as communities, but most importantly, binds us as Americans. Welcome to the Grip and Rip Baseball League.
And in season one, that talent level with those 4 teams that we initially drafted in the original 60, it supported everything that I thought that Ozark could be and what the GRBL could be.
It's that nostalgic, bring you back to the glory days feeling of being able to say, man, this is awesome. This is exactly how I remembered it.
The
experience of stepping in the batter's box, looking the pitcher in the eye, and you're like, he's trying to strike you out, you're trying to get a hit. I've not found that feeling anywhere else in the world ever. It's just something that can never be matched except right there on the baseball field.
I appreciate the league because it's given me an opportunity to go out and love baseball again and just enjoy it.
You put the competitive aspect of it with the fun that the guys have in the dugout, the different ages and stuff, and you just can't miss. Like, you just cannot mess up. Like, you're gonna have a great time.
I get to be around new faces every year. I get to be around new people that love the game as much as I do. And that's really why I do it. And of course, I still get to compete against the pitcher.
Coming into Grip and Rip, it was just everything that I was really hoping for. When you first hear about it, it's like, oh, it's a men's baseball league, you know, how competitive can it really be? It's not until you step out there and tryouts or the first game of the year, you're like, oh, dang, these guys are legit.
It's a one-of-a-kind deal, so it's awesome to be part of. So just to explain kind of what all goes into the league itself, people are kind of blown away by it. So then they understand why I'm taking it seriously.
It sounds silly, everybody talks about it, but GRBL is a brotherhood. Whether it's your teammates or the other team, it doesn't matter how old you are. We're all brothers, we're all baseball players, and that's just a simple thing about it.
Yeah, it's funny, like with my 9-year-old, that she's like, Dad, you're so good at baseball, like you're so good out there, and it's like, if you only knew I'm not necessarily batting that good out there, you know, so. But they're going to remember the good things. That's the cool thing about kids.
My kids have never seen me play ball like that. You know, I talk about it a lot, but it's really hard to put into true context until you get out there and your kids see you play ball on the field.
I'm more excited for this than I think I've ever been with anything regarding baseball. People make an impact on you throughout the season.
Looking back at it, that's kind of what this league is about. Obviously, to go out and compete, but have fun again and kind of have that heart of a kid.
It is a 100% true love of the game. It has zero to do with contracts or money that's being thrown around right now. It's because they want to be there to play a children's game at a high level.
Swing and a miss. He got him, and the Moon City Mavericks have done it 4-0. They defeat Nixa today. Clay Murphy punctuates it with a strikeout, and the Mavericks are going to play for the ultimate prize, the coveted Howard Bell Trophy will be in the balance.
Every single one of us, I feel like we left every game with a smile on our face, and I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of us.
We won games because we played as a team. We got behind, we came back as a team, and somebody was always getting a big hit, so it was a total team.
Well, two teams will enter, only one will win the bell and splash champagne when the evening is over. The Branson Showmen set to take on the Springfield Metropolitans with the Howard Bell Trophy, the championship of the Grip and Rip Baseball League, hanging in the balance. Jacob Karlson leads the underdog Branson Showmen in tonight's game with 15 hits through 9 games. He was part of a championship winner a season ago, and he's made the move from young gun to seasoned veteran. And it will be up to Karlson to be a calming presence for the Branson Showmen as they enter the most nerve-wracking game of the year.
I'm sure I'll be amped. I know I'm going to have it up there, but I'm just going to try and get everyone to relax a little bit. I know that game is a little different than every other game throughout the year, but I'm excited to be back in it for the second time, so hopefully we can go back to back.
Interesting point Karlson made there. The championship game, a little bit different than any other game of the year. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Rance Berger. My partner for this one, Nick Bacon. And Baconator, let's pick up with that. The championship game, just a little bit different than any other game of the year. You've been in a couple of these yourself, and you've won the Howard Bell Trophy twice. What is it about this game? You know, first of all, let's talk about the week leading up to it. You know, what feels different? What is the energy like?
I mean, I think it's safe to say that it's on your mind all throughout the week. Maybe a good idea to schedule a few less meetings leading into the week, or just make sure that your distractions are a little fewer, because you're going to be distracted by this game. And that's just exactly it, Rance. I mean, I feel like you come into this game and there's just a few more nerves. There's just a little bit more anxiety, but it's all good. It feeds into the experience, the experience of October, even that we all as kids grow up watching in the major leagues. I mean, this is it for Grip and Rip. And so these two teams have arrived. They're here, and it's up to 9 innings potentially to ring that bell.
And then what about game day itself? That is something that players have talked to me about as well. Ordinary day in the Grip and Rip is a Sunday triple header where you might be watching the game that's going on before yours or hanging around to watch the game that's after yours. But this is it. There's one game on the bill today, so it feels like the atmosphere is just a little bit more dialed up, and it kind of has that next level feel about it.
Yeah, there's a tenseness throughout the ballpark, but again, it's just fun. I think leading into the game on game day, again, all those distractions, even of the previous 2 games that you might have watched coming into what would be the final game around this time of the day, doesn't exist. And so you're left alone with your thoughts, and you're really just trying to get yourself dialed in as a competitor as well, just trying to think about each and everything that you're going to do, each at-bat, each trip around the bases. If you're a pitcher, just each pitch on the mound. As a catcher, what you're going to call. You're racking your brain through that lineup because it's just you and that other team. It's just you and those 14 other individuals that you have to worry about, and that's what's standing between you and that trophy.
Love the guys on the Branson Showmen. Jacob Karlson and Devin Braswell were on the championship Moon City Mavericks a season ago. Their manager, Cole Roark, has played on a Bell-winning team. He has, however, never won the Bell as a manager. And then, you've got Skyler Henson, who's got some experience in these big games. And other than that, there's a nice mix of rookies. There's some veterans who are going to get to this stage for the first time in their careers. Gerad Fox, namely, among them. So pretty exciting for that Branson Showmen group. On the other side, you've got the Springfield Metropolitans. Their starting pitcher, a right-hander, Andy Galle, playing in his second GRBL championship game. However, it's the first time since season 1, and he has never won at all. And before the game, Galle will be inducted into the Grip and Rip Hall of Fame, as voted by his peers with at least 5 years of playing experience in the league.
It's just a true honor. I mean, when I first started this league, I never knew there was going to be anything like that, and to be asked to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Grip and Rip is completely shocking. I mean, it's really awesome to be a part of that, so very thankful. I want to thank all my teammates and fellow teammates and even players I didn't even get to be teammates with. I mean, it's created a lot of brotherhood in this league, and I'll remain friends with these guys for the rest of my life.
So Andy Galle probably will not be sensitive or emotional when he goes up on the pitcher's mound tonight, but it is nice to get a sense of what 7 years in the GRBL and turning in some great performances along the way really meant to him. Coincidentally, you've got an opposing starting pitcher, Skyler Henson, in this game. He's also about to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Skyler Henson, interestingly enough, is having a heck of a weekend. He got married yesterday. He officially joins the Hall of Fame, and he is about to pitch in a championship game.
It means the world. I mean, anytime you get a group of guys like this and they think that you're worthy of such accolade, I mean, it's pretty special. So I want to shout out to Tony for putting this thing together. I mean, none of us would be out here playing ball if it wasn't for him. Thank my family for allowing me to come out here, coming out and supporting me, and they're at every game. So it means the world to let them see me get to play the game still.
So Skyler Henson, Nick, I think brings up an interesting point. As big as this stage is, and as much as we're going to talk about championships and accolades, for guys like Skyler Henson, some of this is just about playing in front of their family again, and inviting mom and dad, and in his case, his brand new wife, to come watch him play baseball.
Yeah, it's incredibly special, just because for many of us, it's been years since that sort of thing has happened. I know even just for me, like anytime that my family can be here, like I've got a little extra pep in my step, I've got a little extra something to play for. I enjoy just knowing that the family is out there watching me, and I just want to do well for them. And so for these guys, especially in a championship game, that's just another element. That's something that could be a distraction, I think, if you let it be, especially for somebody like Skyler, who's on that mound, who's got all eyes on him, all the pressure on him from pitch to pitch. But I know he's gonna overcome it, and he's gonna do really well this evening.
So Skyler Henson versus Andy Galle, two grizzled veterans. Galle has been with the league since day one. He's an original 60 guy. Henson came in Season 2, they are 1-2 in terms of being the league's all-time leaders in strikeouts, and that's been a nice back and forth as the season goes on, but we'll go ahead and give you the standings there. So Andy Galle enters this game with 175 Ks after last weekend's semifinals. That is through 155 innings of work here in the Grip and Rip Baseball League. Skyler Henson has 194, so he's been a little bit more of a workhorse through his career, and he's at 171 strikeouts. He's not going to pass the 200 innings pitched mark tonight. That will not be mathematically possible, but assuming he comes out and plays in 2023, he'll be the first to ever throw 200 innings in this league, which is just that's mind-blowing to me. And I'm sure, Nick, being one of the guys who remembers when this whole thing was just an experiment and the teams were named after colors, that's got to be crazy to think about.
It's incredibly crazy to think about, and kudos to Skyler and to Andy as well. I mean, I'm glad that you're not looking over there at the stats of how many of those strikeouts are Nick Bacon, because there's probably a good portion of them over there for each guy. But, it's remarkable, and when you think about it, too, this league represents a second chance for so many of us as players as well. And so there may be this stigma or this perception that, once you're done in high school, once you're done in college, once you're done at the minor leagues for some of these players, that's it. You're done, right? Yeah. You're aging and you're getting out of it. Your arm is dead and there's nothing left in the tank. But what a testament to the fact that Skyler is a workhorse and the fact that he's approaching that innings milestone. Really fun to think about it. Skyler Henson by day is a loan officer. He works at a bank. Andy Galle, his day job is renting out heavy equipment to contractors. But for one weekend in the fall, just those 10 precious Sundays out of the year, these guys are ball players, and they are the stars of the league. They will be Hall of Famers tonight, along with Skyler Carter from the Ozark Mountain Ducks. And I know, Nick, that is a young man you've got some experience playing with and against, and we will visit with Skyler a little bit on tonight. He's scheduled to come up and join us to just talk about what that induction really means. So we look forward to that. More on the Hall of Fame in a minute. Let's go ahead and thank really quickly Marucci Clubhouse Midwest, official bat supplier of the Grip and Rip. You can stop by the clubhouse for all of your baseball needs, like Marucci, Victus brand, and lizard skins for extra grip. Quick check of the weather, powered by A&L Electric. Of course, A&L Electric, a longtime supporter of the Grip and Rip Baseball League. Whether you've got a commercial or a residential project going on, you can trust Mike Wilson and company at A&L Electric. Well, that check of the weather, wind is the item of note. It is blowing out of the south-southeast at about 15 miles per hour. Gusts are up at 20. That is blowing in from right field directly toward home plate here in Ozark. That is undoubtedly going to play havoc with some fielders. Also, temperatures are unseasonably warm, starting off at 80 here at game time, an expectation to cool to about 74 over the course of 9 innings, and maybe even cooler if we go to extras. The relative humidity building toward 55% as the game goes on. That's right on the upper edge of comfortable in terms of moisture in the air. So it may actually feel a little bit semi-pseudo summerish, or dare I say, Nick, balmy to some of the players out there. Yeah, and it gets so much harder down on that field too. Anecdotally, as players, we toss around the idea that it's about 10 degrees hotter on the field for any given Sunday. I think that's fair math. Yeah, it feels every bit of it, and for a guy whose last name is Bacon, it often feels like I'm frying down there. So I don't envy the players for that element. I also don't envy the outfielders for the wind that they're going to have to encounter tonight, because as I was thinking about this game, I'm just thinking about how much that ball is going to move. Any ball hit in the air is going to be dangerous. I know you've spent some time in left field as well. I've seen you go into foul territory down that left field line and make some catches along the fence, and on that left field bullpen. That'll be the Branson Showmen bullpen tonight. I mean, man, when the wind is blowing in from right like that, it just makes that kind of play that much more difficult. So I'm especially going to be watching left fielders tonight. Yeah, and this time of day, too, is incredibly tough for left fielders. You think about the sun that's setting to the west, which would be just behind the first base side of the stadium. So as a left fielder, you're looking right into that for the first few innings, and you're just kind of hoping that the ball's not hit to you, because you're going to lose it for probably a good 2.5 seconds between hitting that silver press box area and then getting up into the sun, and then now you mix in the wind, and yeah, it's definitely going to be a factor.
You know, I always thought the guys who talked about losing the baseball in the buildings, and especially on an overcast day, I was like, that's just guys making excuses. And then I got out there and actually shagged a few balls myself in batting practice, and yeah, that is real. You know, the baseball does not stay white for very long over the life of the game here in the artificial turf, and yeah, you can definitely lose the baseball against the gray backdrop of the concession stand and the restrooms and that sort of thing here at U.S. Baseball Park.
Yeah, I don't know if they took that into account when building the stadium for the Ducks years and years ago, but you know what it does do is it just brings an outfield together, especially between center field and left field. I feel like, just speaking for myself this year, I relied so heavily on Joe Emery just to guide me, and we would chat just about before every inning. You know, how's it looking to you? Do you think you'll lose it? After every fly ball that either of us would catch, you know, how was that? Did you see it? Did you lose it all? I'll help guide you. So that's going to be important in this game for both teams, I think.
So down on the field, you see Joe Emery from the Moon City Mavericks. Teammate of yours, he was the winner of the Outfield Gold Glove Award, and that's something a little different for the first time in the GRBL, giving out 2 Gold Gloves for outstanding defense, 1 to an outfielder, 1 to an infielder. So Joe Emery from the Mavericks, a kinesiologist by trade, an expert in human body movement, and a talented rifleman as well. As we like to say, he's got an arm you don't like to run on too much, and a well-deserved award for Joe Emery, I feel.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so hard to look around this league and say that you couldn't find a better guy than X. Pretty much fill in the blank with anybody's name there, but I'll put it in the context of Joe Emery for this discussion. I mean, just a great guy. It was such a pleasure to work with him this year as an expert in body function, I think you said it was. I mean, it clearly paid off in functioning his own body, yes, to win the Gold Glove Award. And I'll tell you, it gave me so much peace of mind, even just as a left fielder, to shift around to the left or to the right, depending on which hand the batter hit from, or which side of the batter's box the hitter hit from, just knowing that Joe had me covered to my left.
And then Steve Aldridge winning the infielder Gold Glove. It is the first time ever in the history of this league in 7 years that a catcher has won a defensive award, but yeah, rightly so for Steve Aldridge. First of all, hard to believe that guy is 51 years old, but you know, when you look at what he's done, you know, he's limited the amount of stolen bases against him, but you know, what sets Steve Aldridge apart the most, led the league with the fewest amount of passed balls, and you know, he's had to manage some pretty tough pitchers. Andy Galle, Clay Murphy, Jaron Dishman, Justin Lowden, all hard throwers or guys with junk that moves, so Steve Aldridge has emerged as a premier backstop in this league.
Managing that from behind the plate, I think, is important at all levels, but especially so here in the Grip and Rip Baseball League, just because you're dealing with guys that don't do this on a day-in, day-out basis. And so so much of the run production, I think, in this league still comes off of things like pass balls. I know that if I get on base, you know, I'm pretty much taken off against any of the catchers in the league. I guess that's probably a challenge I shouldn't say here on air, but you know, you have a pretty good chance.
Right, the math is in your favor, yeah.
Of stealing a base in this league, and if you can get moving, then you can force the other team's hand in terms of run production. So to be able to shut that down and just be a true backstop behind the plate, I mean, it's no surprise that the Mets find themselves here then.
Another Mets award winner, Justin Parker, for the first time the GRBL Silver Slugger Award given out. This was really at the request of the 6 managers in the league. They wanted to kind of grow the award cabinet, so to speak, so wanted to create an award for offense really geared toward, you know, not just hit production, but a little extra incentive for extra bases, for RBIs, and just hitting in clutch situations. And Justin Parker has certainly been that for the Springfield Metropolitans. 13 for 35 on the season. He's hitting .387 coming into tonight. A home run, 5 doubles. That's a big part of the equation right there. JP has been a double-making machine, sharing the league lead in that stat category along with Toby Yorks from the Showmen. And then 7 runs batted in for Justin Parker. So very, very deserving. And then down also, we just saw the Rookie of the Year award go out. That went to Trent Simpson from the Republic Locos, 26-year-old outfielder, a lone officer by day, an absolute hitting machine by night. Finishes out 16 for 33. That is a .485 batting average for the rookie, and that 16 hits, by the way, ties the league record for single-season hits, matching that of Justin Parker and Michael Antonio back in 2017. So for the moment, Trent Simpson has a share of the GRBL single-season record for hits, 16 of them across 9 games. That is hitting, and that's hitting very well.
Oh, my goodness. I think it has a lot of us old guys kind of looking around our shoulder at these young guns. So many of them in this league, and so many of them that just tore it up this year. You know, it's great to see the league grow, and it's great to see that we've come so far since 2016, where it's, you know, offense was truly at a premium. Like you say so often, it was truly an experiment, and now we're getting really refined baseball, and it's the rookies that are contributing to that, so it's good to see.
That single-season hit record may be in a little bit of danger tonight, but more on that if and when the situation develops. Our pitcher of the year this year was not here to accept the award, but still wins it all the same. That's Josh Engler, 37 2/3 innings pitched. He allowed 15 earned on 41 hits, 61 strikeouts, so 8 shy of his own single-season record. It is the second most strikeouts anyone has ever produced in a single year out here. 14 walks to 5 hit batsmen, a 3.58 ERA to close out the year, and the ERA was below 3 up until the Suckers got bounced in the semifinals with a loss a week ago to the Branson Showmen. So Josh Engler, speaking of strikeout kings, he has 158 of them. So he will probably be challenging for the all-time king of the mountain if everything works out for him coming out next year. And just 105 2/3 innings for Josh as well as of October 17th of this year. So I mean, I know, Nick, you've stood in there against Josh Engler. You've seen the slider, you've seen the changeup, you've seen the fastball. They're all good, and they're all just it feels like they just go through the bat sometimes.
I see them, I watch them go by. I sometimes jump out of the way of said slider just because I think it's going to nail me, and really it just strikes me out. So Josh is such a great guy, and I've just loved to see him succeed. I suppose if nobody else is going to beat you, you might as well just seek beating yourself each and every year.
Well, down on the field, we've got Hall of Fame inductions going on. Skyler Carter from Ozark, Missouri, out of Evangel University in his 7th year in the GRBL. He's just received his red jacket, and it's pretty cool. You've got the very first inductee in the Hall of Fame, Caleb Cole, down there with the commissioner, Tony Lewis, helping to hand out those jackets. Skyler Carter, the league's all-time leader in hits, 66 of them, and he's really in a class all his own there. The next closest player is standing next to him. That's Caleb Cole with 55. So Caleb was asking me the other day, hey, how many more hits do I need to catch Skyler Carter? I said, well, if you set a league record in 2023, you might think about keeping pace. But when I think of Skyler Carter, I just think of consistency, first of all. Lots of guys have up years and down years, but what separates Skyler is even in a down year, he's still hitting, with all-star type numbers, and he's leading the league in one category or another.
Yeah, I've got such an incredible fondness for Skyler. As one of my best friends, as somebody who, when we talk about grip and rip origin stories, started with Skyler Carter and me sitting on a couch together talking about how great it would be if a baseball league sprouted up in our area that we could play, and then here we are. Years down the road, I'm so proud of this guy. Not that I ever would have thought that he couldn't reach this milestone or wear that jacket, but just to see him solidified as just royalty in this league is so exciting. And I think what you say echoes true, and it's a testament to his love of the game too, because I think he is so consistent because he's so carefree out there. Like not in a bad way, but
right.
He's just like a kid that loves to cruise around and play this game.
It's so weird to see a guy who he's obviously trying hard, but it just looks like he's not really trying that hard.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating.
It's there's a stylishness about it all. Skyler Henson, the next inductee, the Marionville Comet. Man, what else can you say? 171 strikeouts, 194 innings pitched. He won the Howard Bell Trophy in 2020 with the Ozark Mountain Ducks. The sidearmer from Marionville, Missouri, 3 years out of Arkansas Pine Bluff, broke into the league in 2017 and has just run through everybody ever since. And what's really interesting about Skyler Henson is the way he has come on as a two-way player. We've seen his role grow to where he added playing on the infield, and he's a hitter. And crazily enough, he's hitting very well this year. He's batting .379, 11 for 29 at the plate with 3 batted in. So he's gone from being just a guy who pitches to being a complete package and a two-way player for whichever roster he's on.
Yeah, I don't think it surprises you very much. I mean, we talked earlier as we kicked this sort of pregame segment off about him and Jacob Karlson just being leaders of the team, and that's exactly what Skyler represents to me. Somebody who's stoic, somebody who is all about the game, somebody who's incredibly focused when he's on the mound, and that can be an intimidation factor to the batters that are facing him. And then, he gets out into the field and he almost echoes the other Skyler that we talked about. He moves around carefree, and maybe that's a key to what he's unleashed on the other side of the ball.
As Rob Neese once said in an episode of Neese's Pieces, it's the Skyler sisters. They spell their first names differently, but they're always just weirdly linked together somehow, and now they're linked by the bounds of the Grip and Rip Baseball League Hall of Fame. So the final inductee, speaking of intimidation, there he is, Andy Galle, Springfield Mets starting pitcher tonight. 175 strikeouts in 155 innings of work for Galle. What's crazy, of all the statistics that Andy has put up, it is the fact that he has only walked 14 batters in 7 seasons of Grip and Rip Baseball. So every year he gives up an average of 2 walks. Some pitchers, it's pretty regular to give up 2 walks per game, and that's considered all-star caliber control. But that's the number one thing when I picture Andy Galle is just power and precision combined. And I know he is maybe not the favorite opponent of a lot of players in this league just because of a certain intensity he brings to that pitcher's mound. But nevertheless, Andy Galle into the GRBL Hall of Fame here tonight.
Yeah, I think for all that carefree talk we talked about with the Skylers, Andy Galle's not that person.
He's not.
So, you take the intimidation factor and you ratchet up to 11, I think, with Andy. And it's incredible to think about that walk rate. It's even more incredible because as somebody who plays in the league, you go into the game, you walk up to the batter's box against Andy knowing he's going to throw you strikes.
Yep.
And you still can't hit them more often than
yeah.
not. Yeah, so it's just incredible to see him come this far, as well as somebody who helped pioneer the league. Well deserved.
Yeah, and I think that's a part that doesn't get looked at. We can rattle off all the stats and all the strikeouts, but yeah, Andy Galle was a guy who, in the early days was instrumental in Tony Lewis, the commissioner, just kind of getting this thing off the ground. He had a friendship with Andy, and he was kind of drawing on some of Andy's experiences playing in the Montclair League back in his native Illinois. So, Andy kind of gave Tony a brain to pick there, and then he was a manager in this league as well. He managed for 3 seasons. It was 2020 when he said, hey, I want to just really dial in and focus on pitching. And boy did he dial, and boy did he focus. So it's going to be great to watch him get out there and throw tonight.
Absolutely.
Well, Rook, we're going to take a break, come back. We'll bring you starting lineups, a little bit of a look into what exactly the Howard Bell Trophy means. And then after that, we're going to tee it up and just really get the party started. We're going to bring you the Howard Bell Trophy Championship game with first pitch set to go at 5:15. Don't go anywhere. Back right after this.
What gets me out of bed every morning is the possibility of helping people. I want to give people back their peace of mind. I want to know they have a fighter in their corner when they've been the victim of someone else's negligence.
aching backs, and a lot of pain we can't see, to win a title and have the name their parents gave them embossed on a trophy. Much of what I love, much of what you love, and much of what the players love is unchanged from childhood to now and into the future, when perhaps the children of the athletes you'll see today will put their pride on the line to hear the bell sound for themselves. I love the game. I love that jerseys aren't just fabric. They represent years of dedication and sacrifice to the sport, in pride in oneself and in a belief that together we can be infinitely greater than me. I will never tire of having those who served in the stands and on the field when the national anthem plays. I love the tension through the game. I love that the next great spectacle is only a pitch away. Something spectacular could happen at any moment, and that moment may go on to live for years to come. I love how after the final play, hostility dissolves into respect and displays of sportsmanship, handshakes, congratulations, and a promise to go get them next year. And I will never tire of the energy and the intrigue that can only come from the curiosity as to what could be possible. To outsiders, it's just an old brass bell, but to those who have won the right to ring it, to those who dream of one day being champions, and to those of us who watch and smile along, the bell is the symbol of what's right and good, and what could be good again. Let's meet the starters first for the Branson Showmen. Visitors on the scoreboard tonight in their purple jerseys with white numerals, white pants, and a little bit of black trim on the caps. Leading off is the shortstop from Licking, Missouri. He wears number 2, a Gold Glove candidate, Carter Rinne. In center field and batting second, number 10, enters tonight's game with 15 hits in the season, just one shy of the GRBL single-season record. That is Nixa, Missouri's own Jacob Karlson. Batting third from Rolla, Missouri, is the third baseman, number 17, David Edwards. Batting fourth, also from Rolla, Missouri, it is the splash man, the first baseman, Toby Yorks. Batting fifth is Canada's greatest expert from Weyburn, Saskatchewan. He wears number 14, the catcher, Gerad Fox. Batting in the sixth position is the right fielder, number 15, now from West Plains, Missouri. That's Brady Dean. Batting seventh is the left fielder from Griffith, Indiana, number 9, Jamar Averyhart. Batting eighth, the Marionville Comet, one of the newest members of the Grip and Rip Hall of Fame, the pitcher, number 8, Skyler Henson. And batting ninth is the designated hitter from Osage Beach, Missouri. He wears number 12, Drew Acosta. So it's Rinne, Karlson, Edwards, Yorks, Fox, Dean, Averyhart, Henson, and Acosta for the Branson Showmen, with battery mates Skyler Henson firing to Gerad Fox. Springfield Metropolitans will do things a little bit different. They will go with a 10-man batting order and an extra hitter. They will lead off with the flyboy, Jared Braschler. 4 times in his career, he has been on teams that advanced to this Howard Bell Trophy Championship game. 4 times he has been denied. Out in left field tonight, he wears number 7 from Republic, Missouri, Harrison Waters. Batting third is the right fielder, number 25 from Bolivar, Missouri, Zach Young. In the cleanup spot is the catcher, the former New York Yankees farmhand, number 14, Steve Aldridge. Batting fifth, the Mets player-manager, the extra hitter from Lebanon, Missouri, Brock Chaffin. Batting sixth is the designated hitter, and now I can say Silver Slugger Award winner, Justin Parker. Batting in the 7th spot from Caracas, Venezuela, the first baseman, number 17, David Rodriguez. Batting 8th from Wolf Lake, Illinois, the 3rd baseman, number 8, Clay Murphy. Batting 9th from Lewisburg, Missouri, the 2nd baseman, wearing number 12, Calvin Dreyer. And in the 10th spot is the shortstop. From Springfield, Missouri, he is number 27, Harrison Broadstreet. So it's Braschler, Waters, Young, Aldridge, Chaffin, Parker, Rodriguez, Murphy, Dreyer, and Broadstreet for the bad boys of baseball, the Springfield Metropolitans, wearing all black everything with just a little bit of orange trim. And Nick, ever since the Mets have unveiled these all-black uniforms, it's a little bit of an intimidating sight, I think. I know as a player, you've got to look past that and just play a little baseball, but they're definitely going for a certain look and feel.
You dress good, you feel good, I suppose. As a competitor, you do learn to look past it a little bit, but cool nonetheless.
So the Springfield Mets down on the field for the anthem. We will take our final timeout, come back, and bring you the first pitch. That is right after this. It is the Grip and Rip Baseball League.
Are tough, you turn to the people you trust. For more than 100 years, Central Bank has weathered many a storm, and through it all, shown what it means to be a true community bank. Our people are working right now to keep your money moving, to keep your businesses strong, to keep our community strong. Central Bank has been named a Forbes magazine Top 100 Bank for 12 years in a row. When we say strong roots, we mean it. Central Bank. Strong roots, endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
At Big Whiskeys, we believe that great food and drink accompanied by the perfect toast can bring anyone together.
Boys, may the best day of your past be the worst day of your future.
Here's to the friends who know us well but manage to like us anyway.
Here's to my neighbor Janet for breaking down my bathroom door when I had too much soap on my hands to open it from the inside. Oxaborn. Big Whiskeys, American restaurant and bar.
We are live at U.S. Baseball Park in sunny, warm, and windy Ozark, Missouri. It is the site of the 2022 Howard Bell Trophy Championship game, just the 7th time that the Grip and Rip Baseball League Championship has been contested. It is the Branson Showmen, the Springfield Metropolitans, both of these teams considered underdogs when the playoffs got started a couple of weeks ago. It is the first time ever since the league switched to the 6-team playoff format that two teams have advanced all the way from the eliminators to this championship game. So we saw the number 1 and 2 seeds, that would be the Nixa Suckers and the Republic Locos, respectively, get knocked out. It was these two teams that knocked them out, with the Showmen defeating the Suckers 16-5, and then the Metropolitans beating the Locos 8-6 a week ago, and that sets the stage. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Rance Berger. My partner for this one, Nick Bacon. And another fun fact here, Nick, Cole Roark, Brock Chaffin, the two managers in this game, have never won the Howard Bell as managers. Brock Chaffin has never won the Bell, period. So no matter what happens tonight, we're going to have a first-time champion as a manager.
Makes you want to really root for both guys, huh? But I guess we probably can't. Well, no, I'm in the broadcast booth. I get to be unbiased, right?
That's right.
But, no, two great guys, I think, especially for somebody like Brock who's never won it. I mean, you'd like to see that level of success for somebody who claims to be a bad boy but really is just a big softie down there on the field.
All-around good guy. Just there's a lot of bravado and... you know, Brock Chaffin is very fond of throwing up the smoke screen, I think, sometimes, and he likes to project that appearance. But, you know, that's the old broadcaster's joke. I like to say it at the start of every year when guys are nervous or, you know, they get to talking about championships. I say, hey, I've got it made. I'm going to the championship game no matter what happens. It's just up to you guys to do the hard work.
That's right. I feel like I appreciate the invite, Rance, because, I mean, I find myself here for the 2nd year in a row. Kind of wish I was down on the field, but this view's good too.
Andy Galle's first pitch to Carter Rinne was a ball inside. That was a strike on the inner half, and we are underway. 5:11 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. 1-1, high and tight. Carter Rinne, you know, the batting average is not very impressive, but it has come on as of late. The on-base percentage, very good at .353. It's largely aided by 6 walks, and he's been hit 1 time. Comes into today hitting .189, and that's 21 years old, one of the youngest players in the Grip and Rip this year.
That'll play on base. That's all you need just to get a little bit of a spark, and then anything can happen.
It doesn't have to look good. Sometimes you take your freebies and get to first, and Carter Rinne is a guy, if he gets to first, he's probably going to try second. He will not go to first that time. That's a strikeout looking by Andy Galle to set the stage, number 176. On the career for Andy Galle.
No surprise that Andy is working fast. So I think if you are the Showman, you got to get over the nerves that you already have, and you got to kind of check yourself to walk into that batter's box, take a step out, take a few breaths, and try and slow him down just a little bit.
Putting balls into play, that's going to be a big key for Branson tonight, facing a couple of the most prolific strikeout pitchers in the league, Andy Galle, and undoubtedly we'll see Clay Murphy a little bit later as Jacob Karlson works ahead 2-0. Yeah, they've got to get the ball into play, and it's a very tough order against the pitchers you're facing, but yeah, Branson may have to take advantage of some miscues or some mistakes by the Mets with balls up in the jet stream and so forth.
You know, one of the things that might work to their advantage, though, if they can channel it, is just the fact that they're going to see strikes. So even for somebody like Carter Rinne, who is used to the walks to get his on-base percentage, you got to swing that bat because the ball's more than likely going to be in the zone.
Karlson chopped that. Harrison Broadstreet, the shortstop, charged in, made the throw over to David Rodriguez in time by a step for the first out. That's, in terms of personnel moves, that's really the biggest one for the Metropolitans. They have started Broadstreet at shortstop every playoff game. They were starting Jonah Williamson at short through the regular season. I suspect we will see Jonah come in and play somewhere on the infield before this one is over. But other than that, the Mets are really running what they brung, and they've sent the same defensive personnel out there week in, week out. Galle's first pitch to David Edwards did not get him to go on the outer half, and it's 1-0.
For somebody like Harrison Broadstreet, too, maybe playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I know he was seeking after that gold glove all year, so something to prove.
Yeah, made some good plays, without a doubt. Did Street. I mean, I would argue, he's a guy who's been in the league for a while. I would put in the argument this has been his finest season, pound for pound, when you just evaluate the hitting, the defense, and contributions to his team. Edwards chops that one foul into the seats and then back onto the playing surface. That was interesting from a physics perspective.
You never know what's going to happen here at U.S. Ballpark.
Going to get a little stoppage here as Edwards hops back in for the 2-1. And he will try to slow Andy Galle's pace as there's the 2 strikes. So yeah, he's going to step out. Smacks the helmet in frustration there.
You really, really got to do that. More often than not, Andy is just standing there right on the rubber, ready to go the minute he catches the ball from the catcher.
Deuce is wild here. Galle deals the 2-2. Swung on, chopped. We'll do it again.
Taking some good hacks, though.
Yep.
I mean, he's seeing the ball really well.
David Edwards, a great hitter. Career average of 368. He's hitting 387 here in 2022. It's his second year.
Galle's.
Oh, go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, Galle's gone inside now twice to him, and he's fouled those balls off. He tries to take it outside to get him to chase a little bit.
David did not, so we are full up. St. Cloud, Florida's David Edwards standing in against Columbia, Illinois' Andy Galle. 3-2.
Likely to see that inside pitch again here.
Oh, Edwards didn't like it. Galle likes that a lot. It's a strikeout looking. 2 strikeouts for Andy Galle. 3 up, 3 down. We are through the top of the first. With the score, 0-0. Back with the bottom of the inning right after this. It is the Grip and Rip Baseball League Howard Bell Trophy Championship game. Outs to 13 walks. He has hit batters, and 8 of them to be exact. Sometimes that happens when the slider doesn't slide. So a 4.36 ERA for Henson headed into tonight's game. Just got married yesterday. There was kind of a big question mark as to is Skyler Henson really going to play if the Showmen make the title game? And what can we say? His new wife, Alex Henson, is a a very forgiving and understanding soul.
I think you have to be if you're a spouse in this league, speaking even for Taylor, my own wife. But good to see he had his priorities in check.
Well, yeah, you know, got through the wedding. They're just going to delay departure for the honeymoon by a day, and why not? You know, it just goes to show how important the chance to compete for that Howard Bell Trophy is for Skyler Henson. He's done it once. He's going to try to do it again right here, right now. Jared Braschler, the fly boy, steps in. Speaking of trying to compete for the bell, 4 times he has been to this stage. 4 times he has been denied, including back-to-back the last 2. He was with the Mountain Ducks last year, and they ended up losing to the Moon City Mavericks. And he was with the Springfield Metropolitans in 2020. They ended up getting beaten by the Ozark Mountain Ducks. So, you know, Jared Braschler pretty good at getting here to compete for the championship, but has never had that victorious taste of cheap champagne cross his palate.
Can't say I felt too bad for him last year.
Well, no, you were on the Mavericks.
But
So.
in the long run, you know, he's such a wonderful guy, and you really want to see that for him at some point.
Lifts this one in the air to right. That's going to get down. The wind killed it in front of the right fielder. And then ranging back to pick that up was actually the second baseman, Seth Burns. He did just enough to drop that ball into a tricky part of right field. It's a leadoff double for the Metropolitans off the bat of Jared Braschler.
You know, when we talk about Rant's pregame, the wind is going to be perhaps just a major player in this game, and that was exactly it.
Straight into right. Yeah.
Anything hitting the air is going to be a factor here, and so it's blowing kind of straight across the field. The American flag in left field is literally just blowing from from right to left, rather. So for that ball, I mean, you're right. It got up there and it just died. It hit a wall.
It's not like, you know, Brady Dean's, you know, no slouch out there in right. He just was about a step away from making that catch as the ball died. So Braschler into scoring position. His first extra base hit of the campaign, by the way. Good time for it. And he's up for Harrison Waters. Nobody out. Waters 12 for 29. That's a .414 average for the season. Skyler Henson starts him off with a 2-seam fastball outside for ball 1.
You can already see that even based off that last play that the 3 outfielders have moved him maybe 3-4 steps.
Henson tries a back pick throw. They got the ball to Rinne, and Braschler got the foot on second base. That was close.
A little too close if you're Jared Braschler, but that's what you're going to get with Skyler too. I mean, maybe that's why he's hit a few people as well, because he's nothing but confidence up there on the mound.
1-0. Henson worked inside to Waters. That's fielded cleanly by the first baseman, Toby Yorks. Unassisted put out there, but it does allow Braschler to motor up and take third base, so he is 90 feet away from perhaps making this a 1-0 ball game. Here's Zach Young for the Mets.
Good old-fashioned small ball. Get him on, get him over, and maybe get him in.
Zach Young has driven in 6 runs this season. He's done a nice mixture. He's got 6 singles, also has a double, a triple, and a home run. One of the few men to send a ball that was driven out with enough force to carry that 16-foot wall in the outfield. Looked at a strike there. That looked like a slider.
Mm-hmm.
See how careful Henson is with Zach Young, who lifts this one in the air to right. That's going to play in the wind as well. And yeah, you see the adjustment for Brady Dean. He had to make a basket catch, and that will allow the runner Braschler to tag up and score. So 1-0 for the Mets. It is a sac fly for Zach Young.
Yeah, you saw him go back on that ball and then have to come right back in, make an immediate stop, come back in about 2-3 steps and just make a shoestring style catch there. The wind just playing games. Speaking of that ball, though, I mean, that was a hard hit ball. You wonder how far that would have traveled in some calmer conditions.
So here's Steve Aldridge. I said, Steve, it's hard to believe you are 50 years old. He said, well, you don't have to anymore. I just turned 51 a week ago. Former New York Yankees farmhand. 11 for 38, probably going to make it 11 for 39. Another unassisted putout for the first baseman, Yorks. And that ends the first inning, but not before the Springfield Metropolitans draw first blood. A double from Jared Braschler, a sacrifice fly for Zach Young. It is 1-0. Springfield Mets lead the Howard Bell Trophy championship game. Nick and I are back with more right after this.
for inning number 2 of work. Looks like we had a backflip contest going on down there.
I wonder how much.
Looked like about 7 or 8, I think, was the winning tally. That was a backflip battle. So here's Toby Yorks hitting for the Showmen, 13 for 38. Coming into tonight's game, grounder to the shortstop, Broadstreet up with it, and his throw to David Rodriguez in time. Second assist for Harrison Broadstreet.
Maybe, just maybe, a little bit of those anxious feelings that we talked about pregame creeping in on both sides. You're seeing a lot of people attack that first pitch, for better or for worse. But I think just generally everybody's going to have to kind of slow themselves down.
So here is Gerad Fox, Canada's greatest export out of Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Now lives in Ozark, Missouri. 10 for 27 for the campaign is Fox. A home run, actually 2 doubles and 7 singles.
Well, the power seems to be on the rise in the league this year. This has to be...
Oh, it's far and away the most home runs we've ever seen, by a long shot. I think 2022 was the year, home runs essentially doubled up the previous total from 6 years prior. It's been wild. 3-1 to Fox. Ran him in, and a rare free pass by Andy Galle. Showmen have their first base runner of the game.
And here's where we get to introduce a new exciting element of this game, just the run game. I think in this league, anytime that you can get on base and you can risk taking an extra one, you might as well go for it. But with Steve behind the plate, we'll see how risky they are.
Yeah, it's Josh Wilbanks coming on, and courtesy runners are a thing here in the GRBL. So Wilbanks will be the runner on first for Brady Dean. Speaking of interesting stats, so Brady Dean's batting average, 286. You say, okay, ho-hum. On-base percentage is 625, aided by 10 walks, and he has been plunked twice. He's just got a knack for making that strike zone disappear. 2 balls and no strikes for the PE teacher at West Plains Middle School. Looked at a strike there.
What makes that really impressive as well is just you consider 1 game a week for most of these people. It can be really easy to expand that zone with your eyes.
Galle from the stretch. Dean swings and chops this one to the second baseman. Dreyer touches Wilbanks for 1, throws to Rodriguez for 2. A 4-3 double play. Calvin Dreyer getting it done for the Springfield Metropolitans. Well, we will keep it here, and we welcome in one of the newest members of the Grip and Rip Baseball League Hall of Fame from the Ozark Mountain Ducks, although I guess now he's draft eligible again for the moment, Skyler Carter. Skyler, first of all, just congratulations, and I know you took the red jacket off so you could have a cold brew and enjoy a little concession stand food, but I mean, what does that mean to you, man? You're a Hall of Famer.
Means a lot. Just playing through the years of this, I don't know. I don't even kind of know what to say. It's just been allowed. It's allowed me to have my time to come here, and I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now, to be honest, 100%.
I know we've heard you talk about how
it means a lot.
Baseball is kind of your way to just forget about what's going on in the rest of the world for a while. It's your place to go be a kid again, and we've seen you do a lot. We've seen you win MVP awards. We've seen you win Gold Gloves. We've seen you win league championships. We've seen you play a season with your father, sharing an outfield with your dad, Todd. You've done a lot of stuff, and I feel like we've just sat up here and watched all of it. And Hall of Fame, to me, for you, just outsider looking in, seems like a culmination of all of that.
Yes. Man, it kind of shocked me whenever it happened. I did cry and was in tears a little bit out there on the field whenever it happened because of everything. And just through the moments of coming out here and through the hard times and through the bad in life, this has an attachment on my life now of just being in the GRBL. not only is I love playing baseball and gets me away, but now it's got that attachment on my life now because of all the stuff and the friends that I've grown out of it. And I just saw Skinner this morning, actually, and he hasn't seen my baby boy yet, and so it was just cool. And just the relationships and everything that entails it all. But
this is Brock Chaffin standing in there against Skyler Henson. It's 1-0. Slider swung on and chopped. Carter Rinne with it for the Showmen. Fires across to Yorks, right on the button for the first out. Skyler, you mentioned friendships, and one of those friends of yours is sitting right here, Nick Bacon. We talked as you were being inducted down on the field. He talked about the time you guys were just kind of sitting together in somebody's living room thinking, man, wouldn't it be amazing if there was some way we could play baseball again?
Dude, yes. It was almost like, I don't even know, like 3 or 6 months before. And then Nick hit me up and he said, dude, there's a league here in Ozark. He said, we should go try it out. I said, all right. So me and Nick were actually trained together there for quite that time. And then we were on each other's team for... We haven't been on each other's team.
Broke in with Grip and Rip Green back in the original, back when teams were named after colors.
Yeah.
That was Justin Parker popping out to Seth Burns there for out number 2. This is David Rodriguez.
Oh my gosh. And we still, speaking of that, it's brought close relationships. One of them, Rob Neese, who isn't here anymore. He's in New York, but he came down here, and him and Tyler, I wish he would come back to the league.
There's a Steerike thrown by Henson to Rodriguez.
But yeah, we went over to Nick's house and we just had a guys' night and hit on that VR. It was very fun.
That was described to me as a sleepover, but for grown-ups. Again, a little bit of a suspension of adulthood for a while.
Oh man, it's fun. So that's just what it's brought together. This league.
Swing and a chopper, Yorks.
Nice
Great pick. One of the most underrated gloves and sets of dancing feet as well. Toby Yorks gets Rodriguez. Well, Skyler, let's end it with this. You mentioned as much as baseball has ups and downs, so does life, and we've seen you go through those. But you have a son now. That's a big up, right?
Yeah.
You got your son Montana. So do you think? Entering fatherhood will affect the way you play the game going forward?
I think it'll only improve. Going forward, okay? That's all I got to say here. Do I think it'll really affect? No. I don't know where it'll affect me. I didn't practice that much this year, and to be honest, as much as I have in the past, and I did quite that well. I kind of did have some motivation there because of my son.
Sure.
Just because I remember all the memories that I had with my dad and traveling and going to see him play. So I plan on trying to hit sooner and bringing my son with me every now and then. So that's
maybe about 21 or 22 years from now, we'll see yet another Carter get drafted.
I was talking to Cole out there. He said, we got to let him go to college. I said, forget about college, GRBL, baby. This is where it's at, straight.
I think maybe there's some merit to sending your son to college, Skyler. Andy Galle throwing to Jamar Averyhart here. That's a ball on the outer half. We'll keep you here for half an inning, Skyler. You know Andy likes to work quick.
Yes, he does.
Still a 1-0 ball game. Metropolitans have the advantage, but Showmen here in the top of the third.
Yeah, Andy's been pitching pretty good this year. What's he got this year?
Fastball. What has Andy got this year?
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Let's pull up the cumulative stats. As Averyhart goes down on strikes. He's got 3 strikeouts in this game, I can tell you that. So that makes 47 strikeouts for the season. And keep in mind, guys, up until last year, the single-season strikeout record was 43, which Jesse Hodge held that for several years, and we thought, that'll never get touched. And then Josh Engler just obliterated it. So,
definitely did.
But strikeouts are up. That's been interesting. Hitting is up. We feel like defense is better, but also weirdly, strikeouts are up as well. It's been just across the board improvement here in the GRBL. Skyler Henson. This is two Hall of Famers going at it right here.
Hall of Famer pitcher duel right now.
Well, Skyler Henson corrected me. I was asking him about his hitting prowess because it's been very good here in 2022.
That's good.
He's got 11 hits and counting. He said, Rance, first of all, I'm a ball player. I said, well, duly noted. He's down 0-2 here to Galle. See if he switches up the approach, maybe chokes up. Ooh, Galle ran him in.
Galle likes throwing that fastball in there.
Be a little bit of a message pitch there.
Yeah, might have been a waste pitch just to do something. The 1-2. Back on the outer half, Henson reaches out. That is poked back foul. So Henson standing in, taking the fight to Galle. Showman down by a run here in the top of the third. Fastball, another jammer swung on and fouled back.
How he threw that one in there.
You've taken some Andy Galle heat on the hands.
Yes, I have.
I know it doesn't feel good.
No, it does not.
Another 1-2 coming up here.
I'll tell you one thing. The wind has been crazy this year. It's been wild. I've never seen it blow this much out here. So, well, at least the past few seasons.
Taking a 2-2 here. Swung on that back, and that's going to carry him off of the pitcher. Galle sliding and firing. A spectacular effort for Andy.
Kind of looked like that hurt when he fell down.
I think that definitely caused some pain for the Mets mound man. Skyler Henson is safe over there at first. And I'm looking, they're going to score that an infield single. I think that's fair.
I think you have to, yeah. Hard hit ball. Andy makes it close, even when it really shouldn't have been.
And so a courtesy runner for the pitcher. This is Devin Braswell on to run, replacing one pitcher with another pitcher who's probably going to throw in this game. So if you're Braswell, fundamentally sound running, but maybe you kind of treat this like your warm-up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of an element of being more tender out there, but just kind of knowing Devin and watching his competitive spirit grow this year, I wouldn't put anything past him.
Devin Braswell represents a game-tying run. This is Drew Acosta in the batter's box for the Showmen. He's the number 9 hitter.
Not really much of a lead, though, just maybe one and a half steps off the bat.
He's being careful. Acosta from Scurry, Texas originally. That's a pitch inside. So Acosta up 2-0. Bounced around a little bit collegiately. He's finished out at Missouri S&T. 2-0. Ooh, got him to chase on the outside. Now, we're seeing Galle's pace slow a little bit after that sliding grab attempt. We also don't know if he is slated to go 3 innings or 5 innings tonight for the Mets. They were kind of keeping that part, pitching management strategy, close to the chest.
Put Clay 5.
That would be the thought.
I'll give you a bet on how long Andy wants to go.
I think that probably will have a lot to do with it.
And that could have dampened some of it there.
Galle comes set, fires home Acosta. He fouled that off. Couldn't tell if that was off the umpire, off of Aldridge. Did not look like it looked or felt good for anybody around home plate. We're full up. Galle again from the chest. Payoff pitch. Swung on and line.
Nice
down the left field line it goes.
Score, baby.
Braswell thinking about it. He is touching third. The throw from Waters. He gets the whoa up sign.
Yeah, you got all
Devin Braswell stops, but
Sorry, I was thinking where I was at.
That is a double, every bit of it for Drew Acosta.
That's a nice hit, Ro. Go Peace right there.
And that is only 1 out, so Showman, big opportunity here with
score, baby, score.
Their man in the Anderson Engineering leadoff spot, Carter Rinne, coming up. 0 for 1 tonight, struck out looking first time.
I just want this championship game to be a showdown.
That's all we want. Good baseball.
So far it's lining up that way.
Please and thank you.
You likely saw a lot of that in play there in terms of deciding not to send that run.
Ooh, Carter Rinne, yeah, frustrated in on the hands.
How long has Carter played?
This is his first year. He's just 21 years old. Got recruited into the league by the man you see in the coach's box for the Showmen, Cole Roark. He was actually an assistant at Licking High School, where Carter went.
That's awesome.
So, you know, Carter still lives in Licking. Cole said, hey, buddy, I know you'd probably like to play a little baseball.
That's right.
Have I got the opportunity for you?
Who doesn't?
1-1. Galle on the outer half. That's a Steve Reich, says the man in charge, Rick Hammers.
Tough strike for Carter, too, because it mimicked the pitch before that was called a ball.
1-2.
That's where it's tough.
Again, runners on second and third, 1 out for the Showmen.
Now, yeah.
That was low. Rinne did not
Andy,
chase.
I'd keep it out there.
Yeah, trying to go to the exact same spot.
See what he does with the 2-2. They go. Do they attack back in? Yes, they do. But Rinne got the hands to it, so that's foul back. We'll do it some more.
Well, if there's one thing that Andy Galle is great at, we talked so much about his ability to keep the ball in the strike zone, but he also just has that pinpoint precision more often than not, so he can move it around on you, and that's how he gets you.
Another 2-2. Over the middle they go, and Rinne just swung over the top. 4 strikeouts in 2 2/3 rather for Andy Galle. My goodness.
They need this right here.
This is big, and this is the bat you want coming up here.
This is the bat. Yeah.
Anecdotally, I can tell you the Showmen have been using a 9-man order instead of 10. They've punted on the extra hitter in the playoffs, and part of the thought is you get guys like Jacob Karlson and David Edwards, just that one additional chance, and we don't get to see Jacob Karlson.
No.
Oh, goodness. The intentional walk. Showman.
Smart move, too. No.
I'm not saying that doesn't have some merit, but I'm just a pretty anti-intentional walk guy.
Yes, I agree with that.
So first and third is the situation, as Galle probably thinking I could have had him, but he doesn't get Karlson, he gets David Edwards instead.
Yeah.
David Edwards, no slouch, had 13 hits a season ago with the Locos. He's got 12 here in 2022 with the Branson Showmen. Swings and puts this one in the air, deep center field. Back and making the move over is Braschler. It was a big adjustment there with the jet stream, but the commercial pilot hauled that in, and he made the catch. So we stay.
And I actually saw him in the airport. I don't even remember where it was. But I fly a lot for work, and I was like, what's up? It was funny.
Well, Skyler Carter, we will not keep you anymore. We will go let you enjoy being a Hall of Famer and just enjoy the ball game with your family.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
That is Skyler Carter, GRBL Hall of Famer from the 2022 class. We will step aside, come back, and bring you more of this Howard Bell Trophy Championship game right after this.
Team jersey? Check. Face paint? Check. Go Bear! Throw lozenge? Check. Money for tickets? Ooh, better check.
With Great Southern Mobile Banking, it's easy to check your balance, move some money, even pay someone back. Download the Great Southern app and be in your seat by game time. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Springfield Metropolitans squirmed their way out of a jam. The Showmen strand 2 in scoring position, and the score remains 1-0. A 1-0 pitch to Clay Murphy, swung on and grounded. Here's the shortstop Carter Rinne for the Showmen. And week in, week out, Sunday after Sunday, Carter Rinne just continues to make plays.
Well, we are cruising right along already in the bottom of the third of this ball game, and in true playoff fashion.
Don't jinx it, Rook.
I know, but in true playoff fashion, we've got quite the duel going on. A 1-0 game, such a huge inning.
Just what you expected from the two starters and the two veterans of this caliber. Here's Calvin Dreyer, made a nice double play back in the second inning. First time he's come up to bat to see Skyler Henson tonight. Looked at a strike and then slaps one oppo. That's going to carry just foul. Would have been a really nice piece if that would have gone fair somehow.
That's one you wish the wind would have pushed towards left field.
So Calvin 7 for 28. That's hitting .250. A triple and a couple of doubles, so he's got some extra base power. Third year in the league. This is his first appearance in a Howard Bell Trophy championship game. So this is one of those guys who's hung around, and there's a lot at stake, I know, on a personal level for Calvin Dreyer here tonight.
See him dancing around just a little bit. You wonder how much of that is just a little bit of those nerves.
He's down 0-2 here against Henson. Oh. Well, that's one way to get aboard. It was close to being real dangerous. I think it caught leg, thankfully.
I have been the unlucky recipient of a few Skyler Henson plunks as a right-handed batter. I think he hit me 3 times in a single game or something a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was part of a real bludgeoning back in, I think that was 2019.
I think so.
That was the single game record for a team hitting batters. This one's sent into right field. Brady Dean with it for Branson, but every bit of a single for Harrison Broadstreet before we can even say his name. He's jumping on the first pitch he sees and just got one to hit there.
Mets have got something going here, and if you are Springfield, that's exactly what you want. I think that if you're going to get to Skyler Henson, you got to try and attack early, and that's what we see them doing, often jumping on the first or second pitch even, because good things can happen.
So Jared Braschler, 1 for 1 on the night with a double. 8 for 38 for the campaign, batting here with 1 out, runners on first and second. Big opportunity for the Mets, trying to stretch a 1-0 lead. Henson's first pitch to Braschler, up and out. One 1-0 pitch.
Nice
that
pitch.
Was the slider. Just bent. Started off on one side of the zone, almost crossed the plate by the time it was done.
Yeah, just really bent over.
1-1 now. He set him up. That was
Tried to do it again.
The old front door slider, and that's a strike. So favorable count for the Marionville Comet. Could be big here. 1-2. Henson sets at the midsection, fires a fastball home, ground ball right side, a dive by Seth Burns, the second baseman. He got the throw across to Toby Yorks in time, and now a little bit of a scramble on the infield, but that is going to be scored. An infield single. They call Brash safe. So that loads the bases.
A hard hit ball, but also just a testament to the fact that speed can play in this game as well. And so Jared Braschler is a guy who's got some of that. Makes his way down the first base line, presses the issue, is safe, and now the Mets have got the bases loaded.
Can't fault the effort from Burns. Tried to throw from his backside after making a pretty good diving stop. Just, the exchange, and he wasn't set either when he one-hopped that throw to Yorks. So bases loaded, 1 out. Harrison Waters looks at strike 1, and we also see the Showmen bring the infielders in a little bit, so we would think anything on the infield is going back to the plate.
Every run matters, especially with an offense like the Mets. You don't want to let it get too out of control.
Waters fouled that one sharply back to make it 0-2.
I feel like the tale of Springfield this year, Rance, has really just been as one goes, the whole team goes. So if you can keep them in check for as long as possible, just kind of knowing that if one of them gets a hit, they're going to be able to string a few things together.
Well, that was a big punch from Skyler Henson. A 2-seam fastball strikes out Harrison Waters. It's Henson's first strikeout of the night, and that creates the opportunity to perhaps get out of the jam Easier said than done, of course, against Zach Young, batting with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
Huge out for so many different reasons, but one of which is that you can back your infield back up now against a power hitter like this.
Start him off outside. That's out of the zone for a ball. So Zach Young from Bolivar just moved back to his home stomping grounds. Lived in Iowa for about a decade and played amateur baseball up there.
And I think that Zach ate quite a bit of that Iowa corn. I met him at tryouts. Jared Braschler introduced us, who I think also was his referral into the league.
They played high school baseball together.
Yeah, he is a big man.
He is indeed. Most of the Mets are big. Here's the 1-1. They actually, typically when the GRBL issues jerseys every year, there's a set number of mediums, larges, and extra larges. Mets said, what are all these mediums for? We've got too many big guys. So we actually had to order some new jerseys big enough for a couple of Mets. Down on strikes he goes. Skyler Henson hops off the mound with authority. They loaded him up, and then the Marionville Comet punched through back-to-back strikeouts to escape the jam. 1-0 after 3. We are back with inning number 4 right after this.
We believe reading creates bright.
Strategy call of the night being made when it comes to pitching management. Andy Galle has the ball for Springfield, so that means he's going to be designated with the 3+ tag. Any pitcher who comes on for the Mets from this point forward, and they'll have to make 2 changes, will be restricted to no more than 3 innings, lest this thing goes to extras, but we'll cross that bridge when the time comes.
Yeah, likely a tough decision, but made just a little bit easier by how Andy has tossed these first few innings.
Toby Yorks standing in against Galle, 0 for 1 on the night.
What a huge third inning for both teams, really. I mean, big chances taken by both teams. Brock to walk Karlson and to be able to get out of that inning, and then the bases loaded jam that the Showmen were able to get out of in the bottom half.
It's Toby Yorks. Not sure what the delay was there, but back in the box he goes. Down 0-1. Fastball, fought it off. Murphy up with it at third. Tough throw across, but right on the money to David Rodriguez for the first out.
You know, I don't know. Harrison Waters does such a fantastic job with the walk-up videos that all the players have. Is there a better one in the league than Toby Yorks?
I don't think so. It's that flowing red hair and the hair flip.
Almost not safe for work.
Yeah, it's,
you know?
Yeah. Hide your partner when Toby Yorks' big sexy video is playing. Here's Jared Fox. Has a much more pedestrian bat flip in his walk-up video.
Yeah, you know, in all seriousness though, I think that's just one of the elements that makes this league great. That's evolved over time, that is allowing the crowd really to get to know the players, because you see personality through things like that for Toby's video.
0-1 to G. Fox. Back up the middle it goes, and he's not even going to take the bat out of his hand as Andy Galle flips it over to Rodriguez for the out. So Andy looking no worse for the wear after getting hit with a comebacker earlier in this game. Made that play pretty easy. Just turned the ball into a marshmallow. Made the flip to David for the out.
A veteran just doing veteran's work.
So here's Brady Dean. Swings, sends this one right side. Dreyer up with it for the Mets, the second baseman. 3 up, 3 down, 3 ground balls, and out of the inning go the Springfield Metropolitans, still leading 1-0. Back with another special guest right after this break for the bottom of the 4th.
Support local, give local. We hear it all the time, and when it comes to blood donation, there's an easy way to make sure your gift is being used in your community. Donors with Community Blood Center of the Ozarks provide every drop of blood, platelets, and convalescent plasma to patients in over 40 area hospitals. How do I know why that's important? Because my youngest daughter, Jocelina, is alive today thanks to local blood donors. Find out how you can help at cbco.org. Local donors, local patients. That's the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks difference.
Now at Domino's, we're more than just hand-tossed pizza for $7.99. We're $7.99 gluten-free crust, $7.99 handmade pan crust, $7.99 Brooklyn-style crust, and $7.99 crunchy thin crust, too. Carry out 3-topping pizzas on any of Domino's 5 crusts for just $7.99 each.
Rantsberger, Nick Bacon back with you live at U.S. Baseball Park. Springfield Metropolitans lead the Branson Showmen 1-0, and the Mets come to bat here in the bottom of the 4th. Well, our special guest, amateur baseball player in his own right with the Denver Predators, but long before Tony Lewis, the founder of the Grip and Rip League, went to France to play for the Bois-Guillaume Woodchucks, there was the greatest American to ever play for Bois-Guillaume, and he really paved the way for Tony, and perhaps even paved the way for this experience in the GRVL. He is the author of Have Bat, Will Travel, My Year in French Baseball. Evan Marr. Evan, you know, we've met, you've been a guest on Burger Bites, but now you're right here. Like, we've met each other in person for the first time. This is amazing.
I know, you're taller than I expected.
I get that a lot. So, I mean, hey, first Grip and Rip game, you picked a heck of a game to show up for. Just why not pull out all the stops and come to the championship? So, what do you think so far?
Yeah, well, it's been great. I mean, the quality of ball is very high. 2 great pitchers pitching out of jams, you know, moving the ball around, good velocity, good movement. That's been exciting, and you know, it's just great to see. I'm just really proud of Tony, what he's put together here, what you've all put together, and you know, it's just been a lot of fun.
Steve Aldridge steps in for the Mets into the left-handed batter's box, facing Skyler Henson, who started him off with a slider outside. Steve, originally from Jefferson City, Missouri, reached high A with the Greensboro Bats in the South Atlantic League in 1994. Grounder to first, little ejecto mitt there from Toby Yorks, but he recovered and made another nice play over there at first.
How did I not know that Steve was a fellow Jeff City alum?
Well, you know, he kind of keeps that low-key. He lives in Marshfield now, which I know you do
How
as
did
well.
I not know that either?
So, and, you know, Steve will tell you he's actually not even the most famous Aldridge athlete in the family. His daughter Lauren was a college basketball player. Started out at Mizzou and then finished out at Kansas. Grounder to Rinne, slow getting up with it, and no! Brock Chaffin is safe. 285 pounds, can move down that line, baby, and he punishes Carter Rinne for a little bit of hesitation there. That's an infield single for Chaffin, and the Mets have a man on again.
Not quite the guy I was talking about earlier in terms of getting down the line and making things close, but good on Brock.
So here is Justin Parker from Branson, Missouri. Now resides in Republic. Car salesman by day, baseball punisher on Sundays. Henson started him off with the heat on the outer half.
I'm pretty impressed with Skyler throwing 5 innings, 4-hit ball after getting married yesterday. That's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah. We were not ever, you know, he and his wife Alex, you know, announced their plans. They had a nice long engagement, so a lot of planning. And when they announced the date, we kind of looked at the calendar and said, "Hey, man, do you happen to know, like, your wedding date is the day before the GRBL championship?" And he said, "Well, we'll figure it out if and when we need to." Looks like they figured something out.
Pitched out of a heck of a jam last inning.
Justin Parker down 1-2 to the newly married Skyler Henson, who comes set. Brings it from the midsection, misses up and out of the zone. Chaffin, a threat to steal bases, by the way, guys.
Moves pretty well for a big guy.
He's, you know, I talked to him about base stealing. He said it's not all about blistering speed. It's really about timing.
Yeah, I think you see that even in the major leagues with folks like Yadier Molina. Just knows when to go, how to go.
So Henson got Parker with the off-speed that time for the strikeout. Third of the night for the Marionville Comet, and it brings up David Rodriguez.
It's either smarts or it's the all-black uniforms. Maybe just makes Rock
makes him
step quicker.
Makes him look faster.
Yeah.
That was the old Eli Manning playing Chad Powers. Said, think fast, run fast. David Rodriguez swinging fast. See the crowd there waving the, he can't miss the Venezuelan flag there. They're going nuts for David. He always brings a section. And he singles out into right.
The Grip and Rip Baseball League has gone international, and in all seriousness, it's such a great crowd.
Yeah, David always brings an entourage. It's a lot of fun. Usually his son Fabi is in there yelling for him. Somewhere in there.
Speaking of base running, you saw Brock go first to third on that little dunker out into right field. That's good base running.
That was all it took. So 2 outs, first and third for the Mets. Clay Murphy at the dish, having his best season offensively out of the 3 he has been in the league. Fouled that one off his body. So Murph in 2022, 11 for 31. Came into the night hitting .345. Previous 2 seasons he had 12 hits, so you know, 1 more and he will essentially double up the effort. Stepping out, checking the lumber there. Clay, another one of those guys trying to shake off the whole pitcher-only vibe. He was a pitcher only in college, but wants to be, as they say, a ball player out here in the GRBL. Looked at the heat there for strike 2.
He's been given both sides of the plate all night. He's consistent, but it is a wide zone, sort of Greg Maddux circa 1992 material.
Hey, we start with consistency out here, Evan.
Indeed.
That's the mark of great umpiring out here.
Well, you know, they say you can't walk off the island, so you're up there to hack it.
Murph looked at a pitch in. Makes it 1-2. That might have just been to set something up here. A slider to Chase, perhaps. Henson instead through the 2-seam. This is chopped up the middle. Burns flipped back to Rinne, who overstepped the bag and then had to put the back foot down in time. They just got Rodriguez. Rinne mildly frustrated with himself, but all is well that ends well. So, Evan, let's talk about the book real quick. Have Bat Will Travel, My Year in French Baseball. As I like to say, you paved the way for lesser Americans like Tony Lewis to go make it big in Normandy, France. So, you know, the book chronicles your year playing in France, the ups and downs, the cultural differences, and a lot of frustration, not going to lie.
Oh, sure. It had its highs and lows. I wasn't, you joke, but, Tony's a better ball player than I was. He had a much better pedigree. He played D1 ball, and, I wasn't up to that caliber. So I scraped along. I put the ball on the ground and beat it out for base hits, and, had a couple injuries. So, but it was a great experience, and I'm glad, that's what brought me out here, is that Tony and I just had this great shared experience. So we met once in a bar in Chicago for a half hour because I knew he was in town, and here we are 13 years later and hanging out. So it's pretty cool.
So you're still playing baseball as well. We mentioned you live in Denver now, and
That's
so
right.
you're still playing on the amateur, still giving it a go.
That's right. In the old man league, we they probably could have finished last without me, but I did make the all-star team, so that's not nothing.
Even bad teams have all-stars.
That's right.
And it is a team sport.
That's right.
So we have Andy Galle going back to the hill. This is a pinch hitter for the Showmen. They're sending in Josh Wilbanks to hit for Jamar Averyhart. So here's Josh, 5 hits on the season. Swung at that and got jammed up. But Josh, originally from Douglasville, Texas, now lives in Reeds Spring, Missouri. Proudly served combat tours in Iraq and the U.S. Marine Corps. Swung over the top of a breaking pitch from Andy.
kind of an interesting move here. Maybe you gain a little bit offensively, but you lose a big arm in the outfield.
Well, it makes me wonder, is something wrong with Jamar Averyhart, or was this just the plan? Get Wilbanks in here and then re-enter Jamar later. Swings and chops. This one does Wilbanks.
Well, he can move.
He can scoot, and then Clay Murphy kicked it in foul territory. Interesting choice. Most guys reach down and touch it with the glove.
Had a little bit of a stand-up goaltender.
Yeah.
To it.
Fun fact, Clay's wife, Lindsay, was a college soccer player, and they just had a second son, Thomas Murphy, welcomed into the world
Mazel tov.
by his big brother, Clark. And two college athletes getting together and making babies. Future's got to be bright for those young men, whether it's baseball, soccer, or both sports, perhaps. So back in is Wilbanks, trailing Galle 1-2. He reached up and sent that one to the shortstop. Charging in his Broadstreet, he one-hopped the throw. And El Caballero Venezolano, David Rodriguez, squeezed it and hung on for the first out.
It's a nice scoop by David. Just give me that.
Got a soft pair of hands. You know, we've seen him play earlier in his career. He was a third baseman. We've seen him play shortstop. He's really been all over the infield in this league, but the Springfield Mets have pretty much found him a home at first. Here's a grounder to short. Broadstreet up with it again. Throw brought Rodriguez off the bag, but a little dipsy-do by Henson is not enough to avoid the out.
You know, I've never been in the draft room at the beginning of each GRBL season, but just anecdotally, I think maybe defensive prowess not at the top of the coach's priority list, but the Mets, they've got something here on the infield and even in the outfield as well.
Well, when I saw how many 220-pounders Brock Chaffin drafted, I thought, yeah, this is just an all-power, this is a big guy drafting a big guy team, and they have been surprisingly proficient defensively all season long. It's a big reason why they are here. 1-0 to Acosta is in there for a strike. Drew Acosta doubled his last time up. There's a bouncer from Galle. No harm done with no runners on.
I think it's one thing that we've really seen grow over the years in the league as well. We just talk about what it was like 7 years ago, and I think there were a few more dropped balls. I think there were a few more things that should have been caught, or a few errant throws more than what we see now. I mean, we've really buttoned down as a league, and that speaks to the brand of baseball that everybody enjoys.
As a regular Sunday watcher on the live stream, big fan, Rance. Long time listener, first time caller. But I do think defense wins championships. That's why these two teams are in the championship game, because they're not out here kicking the ball around the infield and throwing it into the stands, throwing it around. They're obviously two of the better defensive teams with some great pitching.
3-2 to Drew Acosta. Swing and a miss. Well, no defense needed there. Andy Galle gets the strikeout. That's going to end his outing as he has hit the restriction. Big thank you, Evan Marr. Again, his book, Have Bat Will Travel, My Year in French Baseball. We will break down Andy's pitching performance and bring you a little more Skyler Henson right after this. Watch the NASCAR race at Homestead Miami Speedway today, but hey, that kids race in between the innings more than made up for that. I think at least 40 kids were in the starting field there. Nick, is one of your offspring out there somewhere?
No, not quite yet. We've got a just turned 3-year-old that I think I'm going to train up for next year because I hear there's some great prizes in these little kids races.
Yeah,
and so we need to bring some of them home.
I just thought that was just for funsies, but then our producer director Derek Seiko informed me that was for $50. So congratulations to the winner. And then I got 2 tykes refusing to leave home plate.
Well, I can understand that.
Well, this is interesting. So Skyler Henson is not able to take his warm-up throws, but he is back out there for the 5th. So both teams electing to put that 5-inning tag on their starters. And activity in the bullpen to tell you about. Looks like we've got Justin Lowden up and throwing for the Springfield Mets. You got Devin Braswell getting loose down there for the Branson Showmen down the left field line, so a couple of relievers will have to come on. We don't do pitch counts here in the Grip and Rip, but we do innings limits, and that is a rule that has evolved and changed over time. Nick, when you broke in, the original rule was just 3 innings. That's all you can throw no matter what. Then we moved it up to 1 pitcher could throw 4. Now 1 pitcher can throw 5. So puts a little bit of a premiere on pitchers who have a little bit of endurance, and I think it puts a little bit more defense into the game.
Yeah, I love the evolution of just this league in general. I think for when you're talking about a men's wood bat league in Southwest Missouri, I mean, you're talking about guys who do pay to play, and so you want to get them playing time, but also everybody's out here to win. So you want your best out there, and you want them out there for as long as possible. And honestly, it's great because the talent has risen to the occasion as well. And so I'm all for it. Hey, if they want to extend the starters even longer next season, it just means that as batters, we've got to adapt.
Andy Galle pitched 5 innings for the Springfield Mets, allowed 2 hits, struck out 5 batters, walked 1, and 5 bagels, 5 zeros go up on the board. 1-0 is the lead for the Mets. Bottom of the 5th, this is Skyler Henson pitching to Calvin Dreyer, 1-1, or check that, 0-2. Nobody out. Dreyer swings and grounds this one. Charging in to get that as the third baseman. Edwards, his throw made Yorks stretch, but great job from Toby Yorks keeping that back foot on the bag.
Looking like Gumby out there. Good play by Toby Yorks to stretch and make that. A good play on both ends, quite honestly. I mean, we were talking about defense last half inning, and it extends to the Showmen as well. So if you're a fan of great baseball, stiff competition, close competition, you couldn't ask for more through 4.5 innings thus far.
Yeah, David Edwards had to hurry to exchange that, and his throw was not quite perfect, but it was perfect enough. Harrison Broadstreet looked at a slider for a ball. Wielding a pink bat tonight is Street. New look there.
Interesting choice, but you have to wonder if there's some meaning behind it, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I do believe there is. 2-0. I think that's a grandmother maybe for Street. I'm not entirely clear on the story, but yeah, a close family member affected by breast cancer. So got that breast cancer awareness bat. 3-1.
Really a
and
great
it is October. So
yeah.
3-1 with 1 out. Henson's pitch to Broadstreet. Whew. Tied him up there, and we are full. Broadstreet, 9 hits. He has struck out 9 times. So a little bit of feast or famine for the stand-up comic who goes down on strikes there. Henson froze him. And back we go to the Anderson Engineering leadoff spot where Jared Braschler, I didn't want to say slumping, but he was really not having the best of things coming into tonight's game, but he's 2 for 2. And we've talked about what this means to him. He's made it to this game 4 times in his GRBL career. He's never won the bell, never tasted that champagne.
Yeah, so you think he's making it count, or what?
Yeah, I know this has been on his mind. You know, I talked with him about that in the off season. Just wants so badly to have a bell before it's all said and done. Well, make that 2 for 3 on the night as he popped out to the second baseman, Seth Burns. 3 up and 3 down for the Marionville Comet, Skyler Henson. So he does allow 1 earned run across his 5 innings of work. 4 strikeouts on the night for Henson. He hit 1 batter, and didn't walk anybody. So Skyler Henson and Andy Galle both pitch absolute gems. It is 1-0, Mets in front, and we will see some bullpen action when we come back. With a broken hand he suffered at his day job as an assistant coach at Baptist Bible College. So this is Big Evil. This is Fruit Snacks, Justin Lowden out of Lebanon, Missouri. And he has done pretty well in this relay pitching role here in 2022. 5 1/3 innings pitched, no earned runs on 6 hits. He's given up a run, it was just not earned. 5 strikeouts, 5 walks, 3 hit batsmen for Snacks. Last outing was October 17th. That was a week ago in the semis against the Republic Locos. 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 walks, so the bases got chucked. He got a strikeout, and he got out of it unscathed. So a little bit of bend but don't break for Justin Lowden and the Metropolitans here. You know, you're not asking him for perfection. You're just asking him to perhaps nurse the lead 1-0 through this inning, and then hand the ball to Clay Murphy in time to go the rest of the way.
Yeah, bridge the gap. That is your job if you are Justin Lowden, and if that can be done, then everything's going according to plan for manager Brock Chaffin. So it'll be interesting to see Justin here on the mound. You know, we talk about what it's like in the dugout in terms of the Grip and Rip Baseball League, and you've really got a microcosm of the greater world. You've got the stoics in there, you've got the folks that are just going to keep to themselves, you got folks that are a little bit more boisterous, and Justin Lowden is perhaps the life of any dugout.
Yeah, the nickname Fruit Snacks, that is his snack du jour, and you know, he's never let a baseball game stop him from enjoying a little treat. There's a pop-up, a bunt attempt. Carter Rinne was thinking bunt single. Instead, Lowden got off the mound, made the catch, and that is the out.
As long as the Fruit Snacks keep producing outs like that, then the superstition, I think, kicks in a little bit, and you keep them going. They were certainly the theme, the snack that powered the Moon City Mavericks into a championship and through a championship last year. They were readily available in the dugout. I can remember showing up at the championship game, and he had an entire box full for everybody.
Well, had the fuel. He was ready to go. I think. Did he go around?
I think he did.
He did. Jacob Karlson down 0-1 to Justin Lowden. Karlson 0 for 1 tonight. He was intentionally walked last time. Swings and fouls that one off to fall behind 0-2. And yeah, you know, I think, you know, Lowden's going to be Lowden, as they say, but I think where the Mavericks manager Daniel England shook his head sometimes was he'd put Lowden out there to play first base, and then if an opposing player got a base hit, they would get offered a fruit snack from Justin Lowden. So maybe a little too friendly for the liking of some baseball managers.
I think it's all part of the strategy.
0-2 to Karlson. He watched it go by for ball 1.
He's really a genius mastermind. As somebody who would watch the third base line or the first base line as a base coach, he would often walk over and give me some fruit snacks this year too. So I appreciated that.
Justin Lowden, you know, beneath all that humor, is a competitor for sure. Here's a swing and a chopper, and it gets through the glove of the shortstop, Harrison Broadstreet, and it will be scored an error. So Jacob Karlson's hit total stays at 15 on the season. An important decision, but an important base runner. More importantly than that, for the Branson Showmen.
You also get some speed on the base paths right now as well, so I don't think Jacob Karlson is necessarily scared of Steve Aldridge behind the plate. I think we might see an actual challenge here, which if you're Branson, I mean, at this point we're getting into the middle innings of the game. You've got to maybe force the issue just a little bit.
Think about sending it. And in addition to being fast and athletic, Jacob Karlson runs very intelligently. And you can see he's thinking about that 3-step lead. He's trying to get into Justin Lowden's head a little bit. David Edwards took a hack at a ball that was running in and fouled it off.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jake even go on this next pitch just due to the fact that Justin didn't even take a look at him over at first base, and that's going to be a mistake. You've got to slow yourself down and watch that runner over there.
Yeah, I took a look at him just now, but Jacob was still on the bag. There he goes. 3-step lead once again.
Watch him. No look here. Oh,
no, they will make a check throw. But Karlson back in plenty of time. I think he might have even anticipated that was coming.
I think it was a little predetermined. Yeah, it was a call from the bench, perhaps. I don't know.
The dance is afoot. 0-1 to David Edwards. Lowden again. That was with a little more purpose. Another check throw sends Jacob Karlson diving back, and perhaps a little exchange of words to go with it.
That's another thing about Justin Lowden. He's not afraid to keep the conversation going even when he's there on the mound.
That time he goes home. It's a bouncer. He grip locked it past Steve Aldridge. Karlson takes advantage. That'll go down as a wild pitch rather than a stolen base, but doesn't matter how they get there. The Showmen put the tying run into scoring position, and that's big with 1 out on the board. And a dangerous guy like David Edwards up 1-1.
You know, I just noticed that we've got a young Branson Showman fan that is sitting down the third base line with a no fruit snacks sign. Maybe trying to get into Justin's head a little bit.
That's psychological. The 1-1, Lowden looks back at Karlson and now comes home. Slider missed low to David Edwards. Well, Justin Lowden, funnily enough, you know, human resources is his trade. He actually works in the mental health field, so he's no stranger to a little bit of psychology. It's a little bit different when you're the guy on the couch, so to speak.
Yeah.
Still 2-1. Again, looking back, now coming home, and he ran it inside. And yeah, I think Karlson, you just see with that 4-step lead, he's getting on Lowden's nerves a little bit here.
I think so. I don't think you're to the point where you would be risky enough to try and swipe third, but I wouldn't put it past him.
He's got the little shimmy there as Edwards chops one. It is in play for Clay Murphy. And then he threw it away. So that will allow Edwards to move up to second. Karlson is going to send it here with plenty of time, and we are tied 1-1. Edwards slides for third. Hand was on the bag, and he's safe, beating the tag from the shortstop Broadstreet. Monster play for the Branson Showmen. Taking advantage of some mistakes, yes, but Karlson did well to run and score, it has to be said.
Yeah, tie ball game, brand new ball game here, half of the way through, and Jacob Karlson, you've got to give him credit. I mean, he did take advantage on that error by Broadstreet, but then he took the game into his own hands in terms of taking second base. Smart base running, not getting too distracted by anything. A lot of players in that situation might get too distracted by that throw and by whether I go or don't go to third. And he watched it all the way and took home standing up.
So still 1 out for Branson. They've got the go-ahead run in David Edwards on third base. Toby Yorks coming up here. He's had a rough go in the playoffs after just being on fire for the first 6 games of the regular season. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Has grounded out to short and to third. Something to the right side might just get the job done and score a run here. Looked at a strike.
Well, as the hitter, that's definitely what you're looking to do. Get that ball to the right side.
Toby, a switch hitter. Predominantly left-handed against righties here. It's a ground ball to the shortstop. Broadstreet comes home to Aldridge, and he threw it away. Pitch got away from the catcher, or the throw rather, got away from the catcher Steve Aldridge, so Yorks is going to reach safely. And that is 2-1.
Really
Branson.
gutsy move to try and score that run with the ball hit to the left side, but I mean, it just speaks to the fact that when you put the ball in play and put the pressure on somebody, they've got to make that play. And so a little bit of an errant throw by Harrison Broadstreet there, and the run is safe.
It's still 1 out, so a little bit of a rally continues. Gerad Fox coming up here. Yorks at first.
This is where you cannot let things unravel any further. If you're the Mets, you're likely just getting into your own head a little bit at this point, and you can't let that happen.
Well, we talk a lot about the big one here in the Grip and Rip League. It's where you look up at the board and a crooked number has gone up, and in what is otherwise a pretty crisp, clean game by both teams. And Springfield Mets have benefited from the big one a couple times this year, as it's another wild pitch from Justin Lowden, allowing Toby Yorks to motor into scoring position.
Yeah, really an odd inning all the way around for the Mets, who we were just talking about as being a defensively sound team. We've talked about Steve Aldridge and his ability to block balls back there. But again, I mean, championship game, a little bit of nerves here and there.
The lights are brighter, the crowd is louder, everything is magnified. 2-1 breaking pitch, and Fox, man, yeah, he swung out of his cleats.
Yeah.
He was thinking about that crooked number on the board, perhaps.
Yep, he saw that RBI potential out there on second base, and he wanted it.
I said 2-1. It's actually 1-2 now, so my apologies. We'll go by the umpire's hands, not the board. 1-2. Lowden misses the outer half.
Really a good pitch, but an even better take there.
Well, Aldridge tried to frame it, but it was just not enough to impress the man in charge. 2-2. Now make that 3-2. Well, there's a big reason why Rick Hammers is the plate umpire for this game. He's all these umpires from the Mid-America Umpires Union, and these three guys have worked their way into being, you know, it's a championship game for them as well, and a big honor for these guys. And I know Rick is a veteran umpire, so he's done a lot of games, but not a guy to take this assignment for granted. Down on strikes goes Fox, looking on the outer half. A staunch disagreement for the Branson Showmen is the strongest way I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been just ever so slightly out, but we've talked all night about how the zone has been wide, and so I think if you're in that situation, 2 strikes, you've at least got to defend yourself there.
Yeah, in the 6th inning, at this point, you should know what your strike zone is and isn't. That one ran in on Brady Dean, who just got out of the way, and then it caromed off of the shin guard of Steve Aldridge, so Yorks advances to third. 2-1. Branson has taken advantage of 3 errors by the Mets and a couple of wild pitches as well.
You just see the pressure compounding in so many different ways, including in the defensive alignment here on the Mets. I mean, you've got infielders that are playing pretty well in. I mean, they're about midway between the edge of the infield and the wall in what is a huge outfield here at US Baseball Park. And that could be for a little bit of run prevention if done well. Also could allow some extra base hits if not.
Dean had another one running in, but decided to oblige and take a cut. Fouled that one on. He broke the bat, I do believe, so he's going to need a new stick.
I've noticed in the past few weeks we've taken to playing the organ sounds here at US Baseball Park, a suggestion I have tried to filter in every year.
You like the old-timey stuff?
I love it. I think in an attempt to just make everything that much more close to what we see on TV, what we fell in love with as kids. I mean, good feeling. I like it.
Not quite as good as perhaps having a real honest pipe organ at the stadium, but that's a little pricey.
Well, I don't know. This press box has got some room. I think maybe installation.
Oh boy!
Right here behind you, or to your right?
I mean, yeah, you'd be talking about sacrificing a party suite, perhaps. Preferably not behind me.
You can play it, right?
No. I can barely play the radio. 2-1 to Brady Dean in a big situation for the Showmen with 2 out. Swung and another broken bat for Dean. Murphy will make an attempt, and it's just beyond his reach in foul territory. The bat is in 3 different pieces. And Brady, oddly enough, you know, he's a coach in West Plains, Missouri. It's his first year there. He teaches PE as well, but Also does some work right here at Marucci Clubhouse Midwest in Ozark, so got a feeling he's going to hear about it from his coworkers. Quit breaking sticks, but they will tell him, Brady, you're at Marucci Clubhouse Midwest. It's the place to go for Marucci, for Victus, and we can even sell you a lizard skin, so your grip will be better next time.
That's right. No better advertisement than perhaps every time he steps up to the plate.
And there he is. Just got a shout out from one of his coworkers on the mic there. Having a little fun, but Brady Dean having a very expensive at bat here. 2-2 with 2 outs. Lightening the mood, perhaps. The Mets are not smiling too much, having coughed up the lead this inning. 2-1 ball game. Showmen have that runner at third. That's Yorks. Lowden's pitch is on the outer half, so now we're full up.
You saw Braschler there just move over, cheat a little bit to his right. He's playing pretty much straight up right now, but he had been shaded over towards right field.
They run one in. Dean took a daddy hack, and down on strikes he goes. So Justin Lowden got out of the inning, but not before the Branson Showmen leapfrogged him. 2-1 is the score. The Purple Gang has the lead. Back with more of the Grip and Rip Baseball League's 2022 Howard Bell Trophy Championship game right after this.
When Gary and Sandra Henry started Henry's Towing nearly 5 decades ago, customers knew that Henry would be the guy coming to help. People would call and ask to let Henry do it. And as Springfield has grown, our family has grown as well, so there's always someone around to come help you out. Everyone at Henry's is a member of the family, fully trained and as dependable as the original. With a family this size, help is always right around the corner. So if you find yourself in need of roadside assistance, remember to call the name you've grown to know and trust. Remember to let Henry do it.
Do you ever wake up and feel like you're already out of energy?
I haven't felt that way since I started doing yoga.
You do yoga?
Every morning. Best change I've ever made.
Try our community classes for only $8.
Sumit's Hot Yoga. You are going to feel awesome.
Burger and Bacon, back with you live at U.S. Baseball Park. One of these days, Nick will find a third man to be the cheese, and we'll really be in business. It's a Henry's Towing pitching change for the Branson Showmen, who call on your former teammate with the Moon City Mavericks. This is number 5, Devin Braswell, left-hander out of Hollister, Missouri, who now resides right here in Ozark. His last outing was a week ago in the semis. He threw 3 shutout innings against the Nixa Suckers. For the season, it's been a little bit rough for DJ Braswell. 15 2/3 innings. He has allowed 12 earned on 20 hits, struck out 17, walked 9, and hit 3 batters. So a 6.89 ERA coming into today. However, playoff time is Braswell's time. He closed out the 2021 season with the Mavericks on a streak of 12 shutout innings. He essentially didn't give up a run for the entire second half of the season as a rookie in 2021. And coming out here, had a great outing in the semifinals against the Nixa Suckers, and is looking to continue the momentum here. They call it, as they say in the industry, peaking at the right time. Devin Braswell.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he brings here. Just such a stalwart for our 2021 Moon City team. Somebody who came on, we didn't know much about him, and really was locked down in so many key instances for us.
Harrison Waters got a hold of that. That's going to be extra bases into the corner in right field. He's going to think about 3, maybe more. Cutoff throw is in. They fire across to third, and it's over the head of David Edwards, but the backing throw is there.
Yeah.
That's where a little bit of fundamentals come in, but nevertheless, a leadoff triple for Harrison Waters, starting the party big time for the Springfield Mets in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, thank goodness Devin was there backing up that throw, because it very well would have been into the stands or at least into the dugout, and we're talking about another tie game. So, I mean, give it to him in terms of coming in and giving up a first pitch triple. I mean, you could have put your head down and really gotten into things and not done your job to back up that throw, but he was there to save it. Just a great job by Harrison Waters.
So Waters represents a tying run. Here's Zach Young at the plate for the Mets with nobody out, and that's a base hit into left. This is just what the Mets can do. Averyhart up with it. It's an RBI base hit for Zach Young and a tie ball game for Springfield and Branson.
Here we go. We've talked a lot about just trying to slow down through this game, whether you are a hitter trying to slow down a pitcher like Andy Galle or just in general slowing the game down. Now it's on to Devin Braswell to do that for himself. I mean, 2 swings and 2 base knocks.
Well, he's thrown 2 pitches, and he's already getting a Phoenix Home Health mound visit here from Cole Roark, who's understandably, given the size of the situation, going to keep any reliever, himself included, if he comes in this game on a quick hook. And yeah, the Showmen have activity in the pen down and left. That's Seth Burns getting loose. Springfield Mets, by the way, that's Clay Murphy. That's the old Cowboy Killer, is up and throwing. So a tie ball game, 2-2. Nobody out. Mets have a runner on first, and Steve Aldridge steps in.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Cole was trying to do, just get out there and slow a guy down who might not be able to slow himself down in the flurry of events that's happened over the last couple of minutes.
Braswell kicks and deals a pitch inside to Aldridge for ball 1.
You know, you like this type of pitcher as well, just from the left-handed side of the pitcher's rubber for a team like the Mets, who have so many left-handed hitters.
Well, it's a different look, though. You know, they don't see a lot of lefty pitching in this league. DJ definitely part of a small sample size there, and that's something actually Harrison Waters told me about, was he actually struggles a little more against lefties at this stage of his playing career just because he doesn't see them. You wouldn't know it with that triple he just sent down the right field line, but that was his assessment verbally anyway. That goes inside. It is now 3-0. So
part of what just makes this the most beautiful game on earth is just all the little nuances that happen in terms of you bring in a lefty, all of a sudden it's something you've not seen a lot of before to a lot of left-handed hitters. You're also invoking the right fielder potentially a lot more, who may have been sleeping out there for a little bit up to this point because everything's been going to left. So, I mean, every decision that is made has some sort of cause and effect that can just change the course of the game.
It's not going to get easier here as that walk to Steve Aldridge, and they will courtesy run for the catcher. That's Chase Tolleson coming on for him. But here's Brock Chaffin, number 5 hitter for the Mets. Graduated high school in Stoutland, Missouri. Was a junior college All-American at Longview in Kansas City. Finished out his collegiate career with the Missouri State Bears. Showed bunt.
And not to be lost in it, my childhood kindergarten best friend.
Yeah, it's at Jolie Barber Elementary School in rural Laclede County.
Never lets me live it down that I didn't even recognize him or remember that.
Yeah, Brock told me that story. He said, man, I don't think you guys understand. Like, we used to write letters to each other, man. Letters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got a better memory than me. Kindergarten, first grade, can't really put it past me that I wouldn't remember much.
Chaffin up 2-0 here. Brock does have an ability to remember things. I think that's what makes him a pretty good manager. Grounder back to Braswell. They throw over to third to get the lead runner. Pretty astute baseball there as David Edwards just got over to the bag from his fielding position in time, and he and DJ keep a man off third base.
You know what I think it's safe to say is that the Mets, despite last inning, which, you know, off air we were talking about, felt like the Showmen scored like 5 runs. In reality, they scored 2. And so the Mets doing a really great job of coming into this inning and not letting the game escape them, not letting it get too far away from them, and realizing that, hey, they're just up by 1. The Showmen kind of have to do that same thing now. Despite the fact they've got 2 on, they're still just down by 1, so you got to lock it down.
Just 1 out, so the opportunity is still knocking for the Mets, who have a speedster in Chase Tolleson. He's the youngest player in the Grip and Rip Baseball League this year, turned 21, just in time, literally, to come out and play with us this year. He'd love to score a run in a championship game. Here's a pop-up back. That is going to carry over the net and foul. Oof.
You didn't tell me I maybe needed to bring my glove today, Rance.
Well, we're hiding behind the bulletproof glass. Don't worry. It looks a lot scarier than it really is. 1-1 to Justin Parker. breaking ball swung on and sent into left field, but with a bead on it, Jamar Averyhart. And with a rifle, young man from Indiana keeps the runner Tolleson from tagging up and advancing. That looked very impressive off the bat, but a little bit of breeze out of the south and some sure-handed feeling from Averyhart neutralized the threat.
Yeah, and you see an awareness of just what Averyhart has in that cannon of an arm, too, in terms of the runner staying put. Even though it's hit to left field, in a league like this, you can sometimes test that just a little bit because, as we say, you just make action happen and anything can happen, but some respect right there.
It wasn't necessarily a great throw, but it didn't have to be. Chase Tolleson just decided it wasn't worth testing him. David Rodriguez comes in 1 for 2 on the night with a single. Breaking ball for a strike called on the outer half. So David now 9 for 25 on the season. A little bit of a career renaissance for him. Didn't play in 2021. Was with the Mets back in 2020. And he's another one of those guys, a veteran in this league who's never won a league title.
It's good to have him back.
Oh, absolutely. Swing and a miss there. And, David, he talked about, getting in the batting cages and working more, but you can see it in his physique. He's worked hard. He's definitely been lifting some weights. He's lost a little bit of weight off of his body and is came in great shape, ready to compete, and on top of that, ready to have a good time. He just seems like he's having more fun this year than I've seen him have in quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
Down 0-2 here. As Braswell sent a curveball that didn't curve too much, high and tight.
I think it'll be interesting to hear how loud this crowd gets, or rather one section of it, if David comes through.
1-2, 2 outs, runners on first and second in a tie ball game. Braswell's pitch swung on, foul back.
Nice hack.
Nice idea for David.
Yeah, the work that goes into the offseason, you're talking about how David put a lot of the work in. I mean, that's just another thing that speaks to how valuable this league is for so many people. I think to an outsider, you talk about working around the clock, around the year for a adult amateur men's baseball league, and most people would look at you funny, but that's where we're at. The season ended. We're going to get back to it a week from now.
There's a bouncer in the dirt, fine block by Fox, keep the runner in check. Well, I also know David's son Fabi is a soccer player and is pretty good, so I think some of the cardio work can just be attributed to chasing Fabi around.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a strategy. The kids will keep you young, as you will find out, Rance.
I say I feel pretty old right now with a 6-week-old at home, but we're having fun.
Yeah.
Here's a 2-2 and 2 from Braswell to Rodriguez. The changeup, and that is that lethal changeup out of the hand of Devin Braswell. Comes at a monstrous time for the Branson Showmen as they get out of the inning, but not before the Mets strike. A triple from Harrison Waters, an RBI single by Zach Young, and that is why it is 2-2. Don't go anywhere. We're heading to the stretch inning right after this.
Yeah, Grandma?
Getting a word in edgewise with Grandma isn't always easy.
Oh, yeah, your check.
Depositing her birthday check from your phone, on the other hand,
Of course I deposited the check.
surprisingly easy.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's in there. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mobile check deposit with the Great Southern mobile app. Easy. Download the app today.
Baseball is America's pastime. And friends, now more than ever, it's important to hold on to our traditions. There's a rumbling in the Ozarks. Baseball is a tradition that softens the hard blows that life can sometimes give us. Traditions that bind us as families. It binds us as communities, but most importantly, binds us as Americans. Welcome to the Grip and Rip Baseball League.
Well, color me not at all surprised. The Springfield Metropolitans are making their second required Henry's Towing pitching change, and they will call on the Cowboy Killer. He is the first, the only multi-time MVP of the Grip and Rip Baseball League, this year included. This is the right-hander out of Wolf Lake, Illinois, Clay Murphy. 27 2/3 innings pitched here in 2022, 7 earned runs, 17 hits, 47 strikeouts headed into tonight's game, 6 walks, and he hit a batter for the first time in his Grip and Rip career here in 2022. So both the season total and the career total in hit batsman is at 1. It's a 2.28 ERA for Murphy here in 2022. In 2021, of course, he had the famed 0 season, 20 scoreless innings, helping the Moon City Mavericks to win the Howard Bell. And here's the most impressive stat for me for Clay Murphy. He's been in the league, on 2 teams, and they have won championships twice. Here he is with the Springfield Metropolitans, trying to go 3 for 3 with 3 different clubs.
Building quite the resume, I'd say. And if there was any player that hurt the most in terms of losing from the perspective of a returning Moon City Maverick, it was Clay. I mean, you just talk about somebody who is locked down. It's Clay Murphy.
He's going to face Jamar Averyhart here in the top of the 7th as Averyhart, the left fielder, re-enters in his position in the batting order. Something a little bit different in the GRBL, but that's a rule you see a lot with high school baseball. Players can re-enter as long as it's in the same order spot. So Averyhart back in. He's 0 for 1 today, down 0-2 to Murphy. And down on strikes he goes, and that's just pretty typical way that Clay Murphy treats rookies. Slider, fastball, and it's a strikeout.
Clay, another guy that is going to work fast if you let him. So I think if you're Branson, again, you come into this inning perhaps thinking that you let something get away from you in the last half inning, but really you didn't. It's a tie game. You've still got plenty of chance, plenty of opportunity.
Skyler Henson took Murphy the other way. Nice job by David Rodriguez staying down on the baseball, knocking it down, making the recovery and getting the out.
So anything you can do to slow Clay down is going to be to your advantage here. But, I mean, going back to that Averyhart at bat, I mean, you saw the second slider and you saw Averyhart sort of bend in a little bit thinking, this might travel a little bit and catch my elbow. And that's exactly what Clay does so often. Just throws something that looks like it's coming right at you, bends conveniently over into the strike zone.
Started Drew Acosta off with a fastball, so kind of rare for Murphy to do what you call pitching forwards, which is where you start off with the heat and then go off speed. But he's doing it here. Quickly ahead, 0-2, and this is just a little taste of the dominating force that is Clay Murphy in the Grip and Rip League. Acosta steps out.
Murph doesn't even step off the mound.
Fires that 0-2. No, slider did not make it through the back door. Really didn't even make it into the yard. That was pretty outside.
You have to imagine, too, that he's got a pretty decent feel on that slider as well tonight, just being a warmer night. You know, you think about a championship game in October, and you think maybe there's going to be a chill in the air. Not so tonight. So that's got to work to his advantage in terms of grip.
Definitely ordered up good conditions, and it's humid, but it's not like it's an August brand of humidity in Missouri, certainly. So baseballs will move. Acosta chops this one off the mound to get it as Murphy, and he will just make the unassisted put out with some uninspired base running there. So 3 up, 3 down to get the outing started for Clay Murphy, and that brings us to the 7th inning stretch here in the GRBL. The 7th inning stretch, as always, is sponsored by our friends at Sumit's Hot Yoga. Because at Sumit's Hot Yoga, you are going to feel awesome.
I need to change. My workouts are too boring.
Oh, I've got an amazing workout for you. Hot yoga. I've lost weight and I'm more flexible. Try our community classes for only $8.
Sumit's Hot Yoga. You are going to feel awesome.
Hi, everyone.
Have to think he would activate himself if the situation were right to do so. But he's going to count on Seth Burns here facing Clay Murphy. It'll be the 8, 9, and 10 hitters for the Mets this inning, Murphy, Dreyer, and Broadstreet. It's a 1-1 count. Fastball swung on and hit with some authority into center field. Backing up is Karlson and making the catch. I think he anticipated the wind would help him out a little bit more than it did, and then he had to reach back.
Yeah, I think that ball was incredibly hard hit, though. Honestly, I expected it to drift just a little bit to Karlson's right, and it stayed pretty dead center. So, I mean, you know, there are a few places in this league that you really don't want to hit balls to. Jacob Karlson man to center field is one of them.
That's pretty up there.
Yeah.
Calvin Dreyer grounded out to third last time up. Looked at a strike there. Couple of beef cattlemen going at it here. You got Seth Burns on the hill. Calvin Dreyer also raises beef cattle up in Dallas County.
There is a pun to be had there, if we can think of it.
I think we might find out where the beef is.
There you go.
Depending on the outcome of this at bat.
Mr. Burger.
Oh boy.
You know, this is part of what makes this league so tough, though. I mean, in terms of you get one game a week.
Yep.
And then more often than not, you just see pitcher after pitcher after pitcher. So you maybe get a couple at-bats against a starter, and then every at-bat after that is typically against a new arm. And so it's hard really to build any consistency, which just makes you admire what these two teams have done to get here.
1-2. Burns. Kicks and deals to Dreyer. Tried the breaking ball. Calvin did not chase.
Must have been low.
And 2-2. Just waiting for the umpire's hands to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
Seth came back with a fastball in. Slow roller to third. Edwards is going to have to hurry. Tries from his knees. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
No. Dreyer just beat the throw. Tremendous effort from David Edwards. And
wow.
Calvin Dreyer just got the foot down in time. I thought that was going to be a no play as soon as Edwards went to the knees. And then he made a go of it.
Absolutely. By the time he transferred the ball from glove to hand, Dreyer was 3/4 of the way, if not more, down the line. And so you thought, there's no way. And then he had some real power on that throw, made it incredibly close.
So an infield single like that just may change the complexion of this game in the Mets' favor. 2-2. They've got a runner on with 1 out. This is Harrison Broadstreet, 1 for 2 tonight. Usually is known to be a first pitch hitter, but that one too high and tight to his liking. So Harry back in, swung over the top of a curveball.
Pretty big hack. You know, Harrison had a couple miscues in that inning, that bigger inning for the Showmen. You know, he'd love to make up for that here.
1-1. Burns from the chest. Runner takes off. Dreyer got an outstanding jump, and yeah, just no chance. Smart thing to do for Gerad Fox is exactly what he did. Just hold it.
Absolutely. You're starting to see we're getting into the later innings of the game. Tie game. Runs have been at a premium, so the teams are trying to force something a little bit here on the base paths. Smart idea.
So into scoring position goes Dreyer with 1 out. The pitch to Broadstreet is up and out of the zone. It's 3-1. Showmen and the Mets knotted up 2-2, but Springfield making with that knocking here in the bottom of the 7th. Fastball in, great pitch. Oh, a little miscue on the exchange back, but no harm done. Mistakes are unforgiven at this point. It's 3-2. Dreyer taking a big lead. Got Rinne in his back pocket there, the shortstop, and Seth Burns just made a beautiful off-speed pitch to take Harrison Broadstreet out.
That one had a nice little curve to it.
This looked like he even took a few miles per hour off of a curveball we saw earlier in that at-bat.
Absolutely.
Just a beaut. So here's Jared Braschler, 2 for 3 on the night. Conventional thinking says not a bad guy to have come to the dish in this situation. Swung and missed there at the first offering from Burns. A long
exchanging there. Catcher to pitcher. Seth has the sign, and then little spin move there. Mets fans calling for a balk. They're not going to get that.
Well, he turned around, and neither the second baseman or shortstop was anywhere close to the bag.
0-1 pitch, misses high.
Yeah, big moment in this game with that go-ahead run on second base. We've talked all night long about how Jared Braschler has been to this game so many times and has taken it upon himself to be a force.
Whew. Forceful swing, only touched air. It's 1-2.
He's trying.
Seth Burns, you know, I think he respects Braschler's game, but he's equally hungry. 1-2. Burns looks back at the runner Dryer, now comes home, and Brash checks at a high pitch. You know, that guy behind the plate, Gerad Fox, this is his 5th season in the GRBL. He's never even been to a Howard Bell Trophy game before tonight. I mean, it just goes to show you, Nick, how hard it really is to get here.
It is. Every year I never make it, I'm reminded of that, just how up and down this game can be. It's cool to see, though, individuals like that that have been in the league for a while, that haven't reached this pinnacle of our league, actually arrive.
Well, down went Braschler on strikes. Seth Burns got in a jam, and then he got himself out of it with a pair of strikeouts. Back with more of the Howard Bell Trophy Championship game right after this. We are all tied up 2-2, headed into the 8th. Work, and if you're Brock Chaffin, you're the Mets manager, this is exactly why Clay Murphy was selected #1 overall in the 2022 GRBL draft. You were thinking ahead, perhaps, who would I want in the mound? Tie ball game in a championship. It's that guy right there.
Yeah, and if you're Branson, you've really got to keep that out of your head and just envision that he's a guy with a baseball. He's going to throw the baseball. You're going to see baseball and hit baseball.
Carter Rinne getting the first crack at him here in the 8th. Rinne in the Anderson Engineering leadoff spot tonight. 0-for-3. Fastball is grounded. It's a chopper. Justin Parker up with it, and his throw did not get into the glove of the first baseman, David Rodriguez. Rinne taken off for second. David just double clutched, picking up the baseball, and Rinne punishing the error, moving into scoring position. And could that perhaps turn out to be the one we talk about all winter long?
Well, these teams have been trading blows, especially here in the latter innings, all night long. So we've gone from one area of a runner on second could go ahead to now the Showmen being in an equal place.
And that is the second time tonight Jacob Karlson has drawn an intentional walk. They put him aboard. So Carter Rinne on second represents a go-ahead run because it's 2-2. Karlson's an insurance run. And the Metropolitans with nobody out. I mean, first of all, they set up the force at third, but they're going to take their chances with David Edwards.
Set up the force at third. You establish the potential for a double play.
Edwards took a hack strong enough to send the bat out of his hand. Yeah, I mean, I get the thought. You know, the Showman fans were not at all happy, certainly, to see Jacob Karlson get passed on for the second time tonight.
Nor was Jake. He
no,
didn't get down there to first base and shake his head.
No.
I mean, for a guy that has worked so incredibly hard all summer long, has really established himself as one of the best players in the league this year, to take the bat out of his hands is, I mean, you respect the move by Brock. He's trying to win, but yeah, a shame from a fan's perspective.
David Edwards on the 0-1 swings and fouls it back. That was carrying well foul. That may be on Highway 65. That had some air under it.
Could be. But here's where you got to make them pay. So we saw that from Jacob Karlson the first time he was intentionally passed, really took the game into his own hands, stole second, made some smart base running decisions to ultimately score the run. He can't steal second at this point because it's occupied, but we'll see what happens if the ball gets in play.
0-2, Murphy from the chest. Oh, they ran it in. Mets fans wanted a called strike. Just a little too in.
That's a black and orange heart, or black and orange glasses they're saying there, I think.
Yeah, fans for both teams have been vocal tonight on the close ones. You gotta love it. It's just another wrinkle to the game. Edwards checked a swing. Did he go? No, he did not. David Edwards not at all endearing himself to Springfield Mets fans at this plate appearance. It's 2-2. Nobody out. Runners on first and second. Back in he goes. Murphy kicks and deals. Slider swung on and chopped. It's over Murphy's head. Second baseman Dreyer with it. His play is at first, and they get it to Rodriguez in time. I think a smart play by Dreyer there. You know, you would maybe initially think set up the double play at short, but it just wasn't there. It would have been too difficult for him to flip his hips and change his body momentum.
Yeah, I think it was an incredibly smart play. Just get the sure out. And what an out it is for Clay Murphy and the Springfield Mets. I think at this point they're doing exactly what I thought you might do, and intentionally passing Toby Yorks.
Second free pass of the inning.
You keep the double play in order to get yourself out of the inning, but also you force an out at any base at this point. So we'll likely see the infield make some adjustments here in terms of positioning. Yep. And this is where we talk about Clay Murphy and his ability to be locked down in terms of his mind and his ability to approach situations like this. I don't imagine that he's too in his head about anything other than the fact that if you're him, you know you can get out of it.
Well, Jared Fox, no stranger to big hits in big games. Bases juiced, one out. He sees a fastball from Murphy for a strike. He had a walk-off RBI base hit in the playoff eliminators that propelled the Showmen past the Ozark Mountain Ducks 7-6. Just about every season he's been in the league, Fox has walked off a game for his team somewhere along the way. Never in this game, though. He's never played for the Howard Bell Trophy. And that is a base hit down the right field line. It's going to be extras for Fox. Rinne scores, and it's 3-2. Karlson comes across 4-2 for the Showmen. And the native of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, Canada, Jared Fox, delivers on the grandest stage for the first time in his life.
I think you just spoke it into existence, Rance. I mean, ice water in his veins, apparently, to be able to step up in these big, big time chances and get the job done. Not only plating one, but also two, giving him a nice little cushion. And we talked about Jacob Karlson. I mean, the fact of the matter is, even if not by his own accord, he's getting on base and he's scoring runs.
There's a pithiness that can only come from being Canadian, Nick. That's what they call the northern pith. That is, as the meteorologists say, it's all that cool Canadian air. Jared Fox was riding the breeze there. 4-2 for the Showmen in the 8th. This is Brady Dean, so keep in mind the Mets need to stop the bleed. They're still playing in to try to take a run off the board should Dean ground one into play.
Yeah, I think if you're Springfield, you're playing with the mentality that, hey, it's just 2 runs.
Yep.
We've already scored that many runs. We knew we were going to have to score at least one more to take a lead. So you're not too worried about this as long as you can keep it here. But if you're Branson, there are 2 big runs still left out there.
Yep. Clay Murphy just gassed one by Brady Dean for the second out. So Murphy responding to a little bit of adversity. He's not out of the woods yet with Jamar Averyhart. Averyhart from Griffith, Indiana. That's south of Gary, so part of the Chicagoland sprawl, really. Went to Trine University, got his master's degree in MBA. And Averyhart sends one right side. It is scooped up. Nice job by Calvin Dreyer to get the out and get the Mets out of the inning, but not before the Branson Showmen strike. With the bases loaded, Gerad Fox sends a 2 RBI double to make the score. Showmen 4, Mets 2. We are back with the bottom of the 8th right after this.
When times are tough, you turn to the people you trust. For more than 100 years, Central Bank has weathered many a storm, and through it all, shown what it means to be a true community bank. Our people are working right now to keep your money moving, to keep your businesses strong, to keep our community strong. Central Bank has been named a Forbes magazine Top 100 Bank for 12 years in a row. When we say strong roots, we mean it. Central Bank. Strong roots, endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
At Big Whiskies, we believe that great food and drink accompanied by the perfect toast can bring anyone together.
Boys, may the best day of your past be the worst day of your future.
Here's to the friends who know us well but manage to like us anyway.
Here's to my neighbor Janet for breaking down my bathroom door when I had too much soap on my hands to open it from the inside. Ox of a woman. Big Whiskies, American restaurant and bar.
Seth Burns back to the mound for the Branson Showmen. 3rd year in the league. Undoubtedly this. The biggest stage, the brightest lights, the loneliest pitcher's mound perhaps that Seth Burns will have experienced in his playing career out here. 30-year-old cattleman, went to Evangel University, discovered the Grip and Rip Baseball League a little bit later, and then had a rough first year, but showed a lot of promise. But then you could see the switch flip for Seth, where he said, okay, I know that I need to actually get myself ready to throw. Had a season to prepare, and has been very good ever since. But he's about to face a very good part of the Springfield Mets lineup. It'll be Harrison Waters, Zach Young, and Steve Aldridge, trailing 4-2. What do the Mets have to say here in the bottom of the 8th? Waters looked at a ball high that ejected out of Gerad Fox's mitt. He's probably still a little bit amped up from that base hit.
Probably, but if that's the case, I mean, you as a team really have to calm yourselves down and realize that you got 6 outs now. 6 outs away from you popping the champagne, ringing the bell. You can't get 2 out in front of yourself.
Absolutely. It is 1-1. Waters thought about it. Burns caught the outer half. That makes it 1-2. Seth working ahead against a dangerous hitter. Waters now with 13 hits in 10 games. Swing and a grounder. Might have broken the bat, but that is 14 hits on the season for Harrison Waters. That single out into right gets it started.
Really a great piece of hitting. I mean, there was no larger hole than through that right side between first and second base, and Harrison found it just perfectly right into right field for a leadoff single.
Yeah, fielders were almost set up for him to go the other way, and he just took advantage of the air. Zach Young. He has been instrumental for the Mets tonight. He's got both of their runs batted in. 1 for 2 and a sacrifice fly. 1-0 curveball. That did not have enough hookup to make it back into the zone. So a little nerves perhaps for Branson as Fox airmailed his throw back to the mound. If you're Cole Roark, you want your club to just take a deep breath perhaps.
Absolutely. You've been here before, you know how to play the game.
And Burns bounced it.
Good.
Just
stop.
That's all that was a nervous pitch. Just grip locked it, held onto it too long. 3-0 now. Not the worst thing if you walk Zach Young, except you look at the hitters coming up behind him and you think, this is dangerous. It is a walk.
Not the worst thing, perhaps, but anytime you're putting people on base in late innings, that's just not a great idea.
That's a tying run as well. Steve Aldridge bats, representing the go-ahead run. And now time is called, so the Showmen are going to huddle up. And they do have a man up in the bullpen. That is Cole Roark. So this is actually, I think the third baseman, David Edwards, perhaps called this. Their manager's warming up in the pen down there in left. This also gives Cole a little bit more time to throw, but I think it's an important moment of collection for the Showmen.
Yeah, I think that's just a leadership moment, quite honestly. I mean, the fact that they're giving Cole a little bit more time might have been an afterthought there. That you're doing exactly what we've talked about in terms of just making sure that you slow everybody down, say, hey, throw strikes, let him put the ball in play. We've got you.
So Seth Burns, nobody out. Runners on first and second. He faces Steve Aldridge, who lifts one in the air to center field. Over is Karlson, and he makes the catch on the run. That wasn't easy, but he made it look so for the first out.
Not easy, especially considering we've talked about the wind all night, and I'm gazing over at the American flag in left field, or down the left field line.
It's actually a little straighter.
Yeah, it's a little straighter, but right before that pitch, it was really blowing hard, not just right to left, but also out. So, I mean, you can get a ball in the air like that, and it can just really take off on you.
20-mile-per-hour gusts, and we're seeing every bit of it here in Ozark, Missouri right now. So one out, Brock Chaffin bats. Hit one all the way out of here in the semifinals, a 3-run homer. Fastball. He took a home run cut
I
at
think
that.
He wanted that one, too.
And he and Seth Burns actually have a long history dating back to, they both went to Stoutland High School and played together in their youth a little bit. Kind of a neat story. 0-1, Burns from the chest. Swing. Slow roller to first. Yorks steps on the bag. He's going to go ahead and make the throw across. David Edwards just turned into a catcher there, getting down to block that on the shortcut of turf. Can't say it's dirt, but the slightly shorter brown turf.
You almost saw Harrison Waters over there tripping, roll an ankle or something. I don't know if he came into the bag awkwardly, was in between sliding and standing up, and just happened to overstep the bag a little bit, but really could have done a number on his ankle there. I'm glad to see he's walking around okay.
Well, big advancement for the Mets, putting men. The tying run is now on second base in scoring position, but also a big out for the Showmen with 2 outs on the boards. Parker swings. This is popped. It's going to stay on the infield. Skyler Henson had to make a last-minute adjustment. Whoo, baby.
Big out.
Skyler Henson. He said his I-do's yesterday. And he almost didn't, but he made the catch there, getting the grab and the out. Showmen maintain a 4-2 lead in the Howard Bell Trophy championship game. We are back to bring you the 9th inning, commercial-free. Don't go anywhere.
When Gary and Sandra Henry started Henry's Towing nearly 5 decades ago, customers knew that Henry would be the guy coming.
Well, he's their guy. Despite the couple runs, this is what you drafted him for.
He's still making pitches. There's a slider for a strike to Henson to make it 0-2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably what's most impressive about the Showmen's approach in terms of getting those 2 runs is just the fact that these were not bad pitches made by Clay Murphy. I mean, we're seeing the exact type of Clay that we would see all year, and they're squaring him up.
Skyler Henson. Down on strikes he goes. Took a big cut. Knocked him off balance. But he is out for the first out. Here's Drew Acosta. 1 for 3 with a double on the night. It's Drew Acosta from Texas. Grew up southeast of Dallas in Scurry. Was a 2-time Class 3A All-State pick in Texas, as a matter of fact. That's no easy feat. That's a big state.
Yeah.
Prior to the GRVL, Drew Acosta just finished actually playing summer collegiate ball in the Old State League that's in North Carolina. He was on a team called the High Point Hush Puppies. They went by the Pups for short.
Yeah.
Not entirely the most intimidating name for a team I've ever heard. But
yeah, I think maybe
it's clever.
Maybe you pit the Hush Puppies against the old Cashews of the Grip and Rip Baseball League.
There you go.
You got an interesting matchup.
Well, you know, the Nixa Suckers might go well with the Hush Puppies.
Yeah.
Get the fish and chips going, perhaps. 1-2 to Acosta. Clay Murphy's trying to fry him up right now.
We got to be careful. Somebody might take these microphones away from us.
Down on strikes he goes. Yeah, the slider cleaned him and fried him. That's back-to-back Ks for Clay Murphy.
Really, just you couldn't have asked for anything more in terms of the Springfield Mets and Clay Murphy right now. This is exactly what you want to happen. I mean, we talked when Clay came into the game about how he was a quick worker, and that's working to your advantage in an inning like this. Just get in and get out, no more damage done, so that you can try and score some runs.
Right up the middle, off the bat of Carter Rinne. Clay Murphy settled back, got the throw and the out. So in terms of a momentum grabber, there's your chance for the Springfield Metropolitans right there. They are down by 2. 4-2 is the score. Now we're seeing both teams huddle up here. It's the commercial-free ninth inning presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks. Showmen definitely know what's at stake. They're sending Seth Burns back out to the hill. Bullpen is quiet. Cole Roark has gone back to his dugout. He's going to trust Seth to get it done. However, I would think his entry could still be possible if disaster strikes.
Yeah, I think going into this ninth inning, obviously we've talked a lot about just the newness to this stage for so many different players on both of the teams, and I think you just have to stay within yourself. There's pressure obviously on both sides. If you are Branson, you've got to make sure that you make your pitches. You've also got to make sure that you trust your defense and that they're going to get you out of it. And if you're out there on that defense, you've got to make sure that you're limber, that you're ready to go on every pitch, and that you're going to tell yourself you're going to make every out. And if you're Springfield, you've got to make sure that the Showmen are the people who feel the pressure, right? You've got to have a carefree element to yourself to just know that you got to go out there and leave it all out on the field.
It'll be David Rodriguez, Clay Murphy, and Calvin Dreyer, the scheduled batters for the Mets. Harrison Broadstreet would hit should anyone manage to reach safely. So it's the bottom part of the order, but that doesn't mean it's a bunch of cupcakes. That's actually 4 really good hitters. I mean, that's been the Mets' MO. They get hit, they get production, hit production, run production, 1 through 10 all season long. And at this point, they've seen Seth Burns go out there and throw a couple innings. He has bent, he has not broken thus far. He's got a 2-run cushion to work with. But without a doubt, this is going to be the most pressure-packed inning Seth Burns has thrown in his GRVL career.
This is it. This is for all the marbles. This is what we play for. This is what we keep coming back for every single year. This is for the new guys, the thing that enticed them. And once they got in on that very first game of the Grip and Lip League, it was eye-opening for them. They knew that they wanted to play for this championship. And there's no greater feeling, honestly, Rance. I mean, I just got to, in our commercial-free break here, I've just got to take a moment to say that this league means so much to the players, and I feel confident speaking on behalf of all of us, all 90-plus of us, that, you know, we're just so thankful for what Tony's put together here over the last 7 years. We're so thankful for you and for the way that you call our games with passion and with zeal. And each and every year, it's what keeps us coming back. It's what keeps us training harder and harder each and every year. And I'll never forget my very first championship game in 2019, and if it speaks to how much this league means to any of us, my sister passed away tragically the week of the championship game in 2019, and it was still a priority for me to show up to that game. And not only that, but when I showed up, everybody on both teams wearing wristbands with my name and number on it. That's a brotherhood. This is what we play for. I'm excited to see how this turns out.
David Rodriguez got jammed up. That is skied up in the air, and it is just going to get into the Showman dugout, beyond the reach of the third baseman, David Edwards, to have a go at it. So David stays in. Tremendous moment for all of these players. They've been dreaming about it likely since the end of last October. You will be hard-pressed to find a more passionate group of 90 players. And only 15 of them, when it's over, will be champions. 0-1 to David Rodriguez is a strike. Seth Burns caught just enough zone there low at the knees.
Not to mention we're a half inning away, maybe a full inning away from seeing who can pop a champagne bottle.
So, a lot of guys don't think about that, and a lot of guys would not ordinarily drink champagne, but for the opportunity that is about to come up. 1-2 as Burns missed outside. Takes a deep breath, now comes home. That's a curveball with no hook to it. So Rodriguez is too good of a hitter to go chasing. Even in the count, 2-2. Seth came back. That was the hook. It didn't catch strike zone, though. So 3-2.
Yeah, really both of those previous pitches just kind of floating up and out versus what you'd hope that they would do in terms of coming back in.
It's not enough spin, perhaps, for Seth. So we're full up. 3-2. Payoff pitch. Fastball swung on. This is lifted and tailing. Started fair. Now it's foul. Oh, goodness. Averyhart laid it all out there. But one hop, and that ball's right into the bullpen. That's crazy. That shows you how the jet stream is working tonight. Any other day, even a day with 5-mile-per-hour winds, Averyhart's probably catching that ball in fair territory.
Yeah, I was just thinking that really, that was the very first ball hit all night that really played into kind of the storyline that we've given into the wind. Once it got up into the air, floating towards left field, you just knew it was going to slice, and that's all it kept doing for Averyhart.
So that whisper in the wind, new life for David Rodriguez. Another 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball, and he walked him. And that's frustrating if you're Seth Burns.
Frustrating if you're Seth Burns, and again, I think you've got to stay within yourself to realize that, hey, no damage done, at least not yet. Walks never really help anybody, though. So if you're Springfield, if you're the Mets, you're bringing the tying run up now.
Yep. This is Clay Murphy. With the Mets down 4-2, he goes to the plate.
You don't think he'd like to help himself? A little bit of redemption here?
Oh, without question. And that's outside. And I think this is going to be a theme. Mets are going to be patient with Seth Burns. They're going to let the energy of bottom of the ninth in a championship game weigh on him a little bit too.
Smart idea.
Came back inside, a jam sandwich, and it
play.
gets through the glove for David Edwards. Would have been very tough. Rodriguez is going to stop at second. So Edwards able to get back there and eat that ball. Nevertheless, that Clay Murphy special, that slow roller with some kick to it. We're going to score that an E5.
That's a tough.
Could have gone infield single there.
In my mind, I'm giving him a single. That was going to be a tough play off the bat from the moment it sliced and rode the line down there. It backed him up really deep behind the third base bag, and I don't think there's any way that even if he fielded it cleanly, he was going to throw Clay out. So
another all-hands-on-deck meeting for the Showmen on the infield. Cole Roark out to talk with Seth Burns. This could be equal parts assessment and also just letting the infielders know the situation. Here's what we're doing. Ground ball left side versus ground ball left side. They're going to stay with Seth here. So, yep, a little deep breath and also just some tactical moves there. Mets have runners on first and second. They've got nobody out. So this is big. Tying run on base. Nobody out in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. Just as much about calming and slowing Seth down as it is making sure that everybody knows exactly where they're going should the ball be hit to them. You still are set up pretty nicely for the double play. You can concede that runner to third.
You can even concede a run if you have to. Calvin Dreyer lays down a bunt. Burns is off the mound. He's not going to have a play. And so Calvin Dreyer lays down a bunt single to Lowden.
So this is just a great example, Rance, of doing exactly what we talked about as the inning rolled in. The Mets making sure that all the pressure is on Branson right now, just staying within themselves, realizing they have nothing to lose at this point. And if they can just be patient and stay within themselves, make sure they swing at good pitches and be patient, something could happen.
Cole Roark has now got a glove in his hand, and he is pacing with purpose. For the moment, he sticks with Burns, with Harrison Broadstreet, number 10 hitter, up looking at a strike. Street 1 for 3 on the night with a single. He's had his finest season swinging the bat. 9 hits on the year now.
You know, a little curious that Averyhart's playing so close or so straight up, really. Not as...
and it gets away from Gerad Fox. It's a wild pitch. Rodriguez scores. That cuts the lead 4-3. And with that, Cole Roark is coming into the game. Time is called. It'll be a Henry's towing pitching change for the Branson Showmen in a monumental moment right here, right now. Cole Roark.
Oh, you want entertainment?
This is about to be it. He has struggled. First of all, we'll preface this by saying, as much as he has struggled with some injuries and some arm tenderness in his elbow this season, absolutely one of the best to ever lace him up and fire fastballs here in the Grip and Rip Baseball League. Cole Roark came into the season with a 2.54 ERA. It is now at 2.94. Let's just give you the whole career rundown. 79 2/3 innings pitched, just 26 earned runs, 69 hits, 103 strikeouts. He has walked just 15 batters and hit 2 men. But 2022 has not been kind. Yes, he did get his one. The Springfield Mets, by the way, on August 28th. But it's been tough. He's thrown 12 1/3, 7 earned runs on 15 hits, 15 strikeouts to 6 walks, a couple of extra base hits in there, so a 5.11 ERA for Roark on the 2022 campaign. He's a native of Torrington, Wyoming, moved around a lot as a kid, ended up in Missouri, graduated from Rolla High School, where he was the Ozark Conference Player of the Year, playing against a lot of high schools from here in Springfield, Missouri along the way. Went to Southwest Baptist University and then finished out at Warner University down in Lake Wales, Florida. It is his 4th year in the Grip and Rip League, won a title as a player with the Henry's Towing High Rollers in 2019. 2nd year as a player manager, and now channeling a guy I know he respects a lot, Justin Skinner, who managed teams to 3 Howard Bells in his own right. He said, I liked that Skinner would sometimes wait to insert himself as a pitcher in a game. He would make himself the fireman, and when the pressure was on, call his own number. So here it is, Cole Roark. 1-1 the count to Harrison Broadstreet that he inherits from Burns, along with runners on 2nd and 3rd, and now a step off.
Yeah, that's just it. So much to like about this move, so much to respect about Cole just putting himself in there thinking, I'm going to be the one that shuts this down.
Fastball, swing and a miss by Broadstreet.
But worst case scenario, I'm also going to own this.
Yeah,
right?
It is absolutely feast or famine. The whole outcome of the season comes down to that right-hander, number 11, Cole Roark.
Really like this move, and I can guarantee that the season's numbers don't mean anything to him right now.
1-2. Fastball low. So Roark has a fastball, he's got a slider, and a Vulcan changeup, a true Mr. Spock-style grip. And we have seen him use that Vulcan change to great success. 2-2 to Harrison Broadstreet. Roark. That missed outside.
Just a huge gap out in left center right now, and I realize you've got Averyhart and Karlson, 2 really speedy outfielders that could close that gap pretty quickly, but it's just an eyesore almost out there. If Harrison could poke something just out over the shortstop, You might score 2.
1-run ball game. It's a jam shot that Broadstreet fouled off right at the on-deck circle where Harrison Waters is standing for the Mets. So we will do that payoff pitch again. Nobody out. 2 men in scoring position. The tying run and the go-ahead. Comes set from the belt. Swing and a miss. Punch number 1 landed for Cole Roark. Down goes Broadstreet. He'll have to get 2 more.
You have to get 2 more. I almost wonder if you shouldn't put Braschler on here.
We'll see what he's thinking about. Brash,
I mean,
2
as a
for
run.
2 tonight, but they're, for the moment, looks like they will throw to him here.
As a run, he doesn't matter, so the reason I say that is just because you force an out at any base and you set up the double play.
I get what you're saying. You're not wrong. Check swing, no. Ball 1.
Let's hear it, Mets fans.
Well, we talked about the pressure Roark is putting on himself. You got to like this situation for Jared Braschler in terms of a chance to command his destiny, swinging a foul ball back to even the count.
He wants it too. That was a big time hack, trying to take that ball into right field, just ensure that that runner on second can score.
Roark, 1-1, looks in to get the sign from Jared Fox. Has it. Breaking pitch. Showman fans wanted that. They did not get it. It's 2-1.
Really a good pitch, though. I mean, in terms of,
oh yeah,
you just had Braschler that tried to poke an outside pitch to right field, come back and bend something over the back door there.
Roark went back at him with the gas. This is up the middle. Henson with it. Throw sails on him. It gets away from Toby Yorks. It's into the dugout, and that does it. The Springfield Metropolitans win on a ball into play. They walk it off 5-4. The Springfield Metropolitans are your 2022 Howard Bell Trophy champions. And you hate to see it end like that for the Showmen, but at this point it's just a shame that someone had to go down like that. But the Springfield Mets earned every bit of this, it's got to be said.
Absolutely. Elation.
Springfield Metropolitans, just in terms of the significance of this win, we talked about Jared Braschler, fitting that he was at the plate there, having been on teams that played in this game 4 times and had never won. He has now. Other side of that, it is the 3rd championship. Some other steady vets. David Rodriguez has never won the bell until now. Brock Chaffin, the manager, of course. Calvin Dreyer wins his first GRBL title, as do Steve Aldridge and Jonah Williamson. And then a Hall of Famer, and he pitched brilliantly. 5 shutout innings earlier tonight. Andy Galle, playing in just the 2nd GRBL championship game of his career. First run at it since season 1. He has never won it all up until now, and the same holds true for another original in Justin Parker. So a lot of guys down on that Mets roster that you can feel good about. Howard Bell Trophy champions. Yes, they are the bad boys of baseball, but there really are some gold-hearted men down there celebrating a championship right now.
Yeah, well said. I'm just so excited, especially for those individuals that have won their very first championship. I mean, it's just a feeling that like I said, you will never, ever forget. They are going to put on those championship T-shirts. They're going to live in their closets. They're going to wear those loud and proud as often as they can. They're going to pop champagne here in a minute. They're going to get to ring the bell. Harrison's no doubt going to put together an epic video for his own team this year. It's just going to give everybody chills and give everybody that much more motivation to come back. And just to see players like Brash finally get that first championship, I'm just so thrilled for him. I mean, we sort of began this broadcast talking about all the guys that, you know, couldn't happen to a better XYZ, and Jared is definitely one of those players. I can remember back in June, I get this random message from Jared Braschler down in Tampa, Florida, saying, "Hey man, are you down in Tampa?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I'm here too. Be cool if we could link up." And we never did, but we talked even back in June just about the training that was going on for this moment right here. So I know that just like Jared Braschler, so many of these Mets put in the hard work to get here, and it's all paid off. This is the moment that you've lived for, that you've waited for, and that you've played for.
They're getting their champagne right now. So first, you pop the champagne, and we see some of the veterans instructing the less experienced revelers down there. First you pop it, then you shake it.
You
But you don't want to go too early. So Brock Chaffin is going to get the Howard Bell from Commissioner Tony Lewis. He's also got that Mets championship title belt. Good time to mention Elite Promotions, Elite Performer of the Game. We've got I'm going to actually cop out and give it to two players. We talked about Andy Galle. I think he's certainly worthy. 5 shutout innings, 5 strikeouts, allowed just 2 hits, and postured the Mets to get this 5-4 victory. And then the guy who had 2 key RBIs, it'll be Zach Young. He was ultimately 1 for 2 tonight. Had an RBI single out to left in the 6th that was tremendous in terms of momentum. It showed that the Mets had some fight and put them in position to come back and claw their way back in the 9th to take advantage of some mistakes by the Showmen, but also to put the ball into play and do it with some hard hit balls. So Zach Young and Andy Galle, your Elite Promotions elite performers of this championship game. They're about to get that Howard Bell trophy. It is named for the late, great Howard Bell, longtime high school baseball coach in Springfield, Missouri at Glendale High School. A life taken too early due to ALS. But we play on in his memory and in his honor every season here in the GRBL. It's the 7th time the trophy has been awarded. It is the first time it goes to the Springfield Mets as a franchise, the first time for their manager, Brock Chaffin. And we're seeing it. The boys have the champagne. Nick, let's just let the moment breathe.
They're ready to go.
Well, they're figuring it out. Chaffin's got the bell, and he will ring it for the first time as a champion.
Oh, just no greater feeling.
That is some well-earned elation for the Springfield Metropolitans.
Just grown men acting like 10-year-olds. There's no better feeling. I love it. And not to mention, I mean, we mentioned all these storylines about the players getting their first championship, the returners like Clay Murphy, who, let's be honest, may have already solidified a Hall of Fame resume. And
I think he could essentially fall out of bed for the next 2 seasons and probably get voted in.
I think so. But the legend of the fruit snacks lives on.
Justin Lowden now 2 for 2 since going to the snacks. Let's go ahead. I'll give you the Mets run, the full roster. These are your Howard Bell Trophy champions for 2022. Jonah Williamson, Chase Tolleson, Jared Braschler, Harrison Waters, Clay Murphy, the MVP, Justin Lowden, Calvin Dreyer, and rookie outing. We threw you right into the deep end of the pool. from the get-go, but we'll definitely have you back if you're down.
I would be more than willing, Rance. It's been a pleasure and honor. I'm just so thankful that you thought of me to ask me, especially on a big stage like this. I think I probably sat out in the parking lot with more nerves about doing this than I have any pre-game that I've spent here at Grip and Rip, which is saying something. So this has been a blast.
Well, we'll have you back, but you're going to be a ball player in 2023, as will a lot of these men down on the field, as will a lot of the guys on the Branson Showmen as well. If you're a Grip and Rip fan, yeah, we're going to be going away for a while, but that doesn't mean radio silence. We will keep you up to date, so please continue following the YouTube channel. Subscribe so you don't miss games when they resume in October of 2023, but also watch the GRBL Facebook page. You can like Grip and Rip Baseball League. We will have some off-season information. We'll break down this season, tell you about any loose ends with league records, with Hall of Fame, with our postseason awards, all of that good stuff that we might have missed. And yeah, we just try to have a little fun in the off-season as well to engage with the fans. That is also where you will find the all-important tryout information, and for the first time ever, franchise players. That is going to come into play since the final play of the Howard Bell Trophy Championship game has been made. We can get into a little bit of hot stove for the first time in league history.
I think that's awesome. I feel like this was maybe before your time, Rance, you know. But I think in season 1 there was talk about, you know, the possibility of trades and things like that, which has always just kind of kept the thrill of what could be in this league alive. And I know that the idea of the franchise tag has been something that, you know, I myself have been clamoring for in the postseason survey that Tony lends out, and obviously others have as well. I think it's going to bring a new element to the game, a new dynamic to the game, and really introduce some continuity that fans can get behind as well in terms of adopting a team as a true favorite year in and year out.
Well, I have a feeling I know who the Springfield Mets are going to franchise, but we'll talk about that a little bit later over the winter time. You know, his name starts with a C and ends in a Leigh Murphy, but
yeah, but hey, they can opt out, right?
It is, yeah. It's pretty cool. You know, it starts as a club option, it ends as a player option, so it's got to be a mutual agreement for one player from each roster here in 2022 to return to that club again for 2023. And if they don't agree, or you know, if a team offers a player and he wants to test his luck, he can say, no thanks, I'm going to enter the GRBL draft, and that's fine. He's well within his rights to do that. So
there's a lot of money to be made out there on the free agent market.
We'll see how that plays out. You know, we've tried to discourage bribery or tampering, as we say, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, if you're a GRBL fan, definitely pay attention to the Facebook page through the off-season, as we will make franchise player announcements as they unfold for all 6 clubs. Well, Nick, we'll let you go and take part in a little bit of revelry. We may or may not talk things over with some Mets as they're down on the field. We'll make a judgment call, but right now I'm going to take a break. Again, 5-4, your final score. The Springfield Metropolitans defeat the Branson Showmen to win the Howard Bell Trophy here in 2022. Back with more right after this.
When Gary and Sandra Henry started Henry's Towing nearly 5 decades ago, customers knew that Henry would be the guy coming to help. People would call and ask to let Henry do it. And as Springfield has grown, our family has grown as well, so there's always someone around to come help you out. Everyone at Henry's is a member of the family, fully trained and as dependable as the original. With a family this size, help is always right around the corner. So if you find yourself in need of roadside assistance, remember to call the name you've grown to know and trust. Remember to let Henry do it!
Hi everyone, this is Bob Costas, and I'd like to tell you about an interesting new baseball book, A Year of Playing Catch by Ethan Bryan. A Year of Playing Catch is the story of how a lifelong fan was inspired to take a whimsical journey of discovery and the power of our national pastime to forge lasting connections. You can pick up your copy after any Ozark Mountain Ducks game or from your favorite bookseller or online.
manager Brock Chaffin, and David Rodriguez. Get big Howard Bell Trophy Championship wins. Jaron Dishman, Zach Young, Harrison Broadstreet, and a guy we are about to talk things over with here real quick. Yeah, I could smell him before I could see him.
I better not get pulled over tonight.
Howard Bell Trophy champion,
yes.
Andy Galle.
God, I'm so stoked at Rance. I tell you, nothing has been. I mean, it's bringing me to tears, man. I'm just so happy. It is awesome, dude. I can't, out of breath, trying to thank everybody, thanking them for playing together with them, you know? I mean, it's just so much fun playing with these guys this year, and I don't want it to end.
It doesn't have to, you know? There's always 2023.
I know. Might be pulling a Tom Brady this year.
Well, no, I know you've talked about, hey, maybe this is it. But after what you're experiencing now, you got something to think about in the offseason, my friend.
You know, I mean, do you ride off into the sunset and, you know, look past on your career and end it with a, you know, Hall of Fame inductee, which I'm so thankful to be honored, or I'm honored to be inducted into that, and then win the championship. I mean, I've never won one. I mean, you know, I knew we had it in us, and guys got up in the dugout, and dude, it was unreal. I'm so stoked. There's no words can't even explain how I feel right now.
So then individually, Andy, you punctuate it with 5 shutout innings. Let's talk about first of all that, because I wasn't entirely sure we were going to see you be the guy to go 5 tonight for the Mets. Was that the plan all along?
I don't know. I mean, just how I felt. You know, I don't think I had my best stuff tonight, Rance. I mean, my fastball was tailing very, very hard outside. I'd throw it across the plate, and it would go outside. They'd call it for a ball. You know, I mean, if you look at the first inning, I don't think the first 3 batters, usually I'm a first pitch strike type of guy, and I was 0-2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
2-0.
2-0, yeah. And, you know, I was behind in the count a lot with these guys, and I didn't rely on off speed. Threw it when I had to, but I was mainly a fastball pitcher tonight. I bet I threw 10% off speed. 90% fastballs tonight.
Well, it worked, you know. You had 5 strikeouts, you had, you know, 5 zeros on the board. That's the big thing. Scattered just 2 hits. And then, you know, those last 2 innings, the 4th and the 5th, it was just grounder after grounder after grounder on the infield.
That's what I told Coach. I said, you know, I was like, I'm just going to throw it, let them hit it. I was like, they can't hurt me in the air. You know, I mean, everything in the air was pretty much an out tonight. Outfielders were playing in. I was like, let them hit it, man. I trust my defense, and let's get. I wanted quick innings. I think we finished the first 5 innings in an hour.
It was very quick.
5 minutes.
It was fast.
6th and 7th inning were almost 45 minutes. It's like, come on, boys.
It's a lot of time to start thinking a little too much, isn't it, when you're just sitting there? Yes. So, Andy, you know, your career. I know you played in this game back in 2016. You were part of that grip and rip red team that ended up losing, and then we saw you make the move into management. So, and then it's kind of been a career in 2 parts for you. You know, we've talked ad nauseum about the time when you said, you know, I don't want to be a manager, I just want to be a player. But, you know, as you're getting on in years and as you're concentrating on pitching, how much did it weigh on you, just you know, getting into the playoffs but not quite making it to this stage?
It was tough. I mean, I was frustrated. I mean, I'm a different person when I go in between those lines, Rance. Outside, I'm chill, great to talk to. I won't shut up. But when I'm in between those lines, you don't want to I mean, people don't know me. I mean, I'm mean. You know, I've got that bulldog mentality, and that's what I was told to be a successful pitcher when I was late in high school. They said you have to have that attitude if you want to be a successful pitcher. None of those guys are your friends. They do something, call a timeout, I'm going to throw at you. You know, I mean, I'm going to give you one high and tight. A lot of cussing from me. I cuss like a pirate when I'm in the dugout, when I'm throwing. But after that, I'd say the last 4 innings, I was cool as hell. Eating fruit snacks, cheering on the guys, high-fiving, coaching third, coaching first, you know. So I'm just a totally different guy when I stand out there on the mound.
Yeah, well, and again, you know, you go into the Hall of Fame and you win your first bell on the same night. That's just got to be an over-the-moon night, and you know, we talk about this a lot, just what it means to these guys. 'Cause, you know, you all work 9-to-5 jobs. You only play baseball 9.
I mean, that's the reassurance of why. It was so much fun. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm so stoked. I don't even know if I'll sleep tonight.
We'll let you get back to celebrating. So, Andy, I just wanted to bring you up and say congratulations.
Thank you. It's awesome. Brance, appreciate everything.
A big moment, most certainly, and one of the most storied careers in the history of the Grip and Rip Baseball League. I'll say it. We'll see Andy in 2023. We're not letting him walk out that door. Springfield Metropolitans are winners tonight, 5-4. They win the Howard Bill Trophy. We will, as I said, continue with the YouTube channel throughout the off season. You can go back and watch all of your favorite games. They are archived forever. And also, we invite you to keep in touch with the league on our Facebook page for important announcements. We've got the franchise hot stove season coming up first and foremost, and then tryout announcements as we all gear up to do it again in August of 2023. Well, tonight's game, the executive producer, of course, is the commissioner and the founder of the Grip and Rip Baseball League. That's Tony Lewis. I'd like to say a big thank you to some of our guests, including Skylar Carter and Evan Marr, whose book Have Bat Will Travel is available on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. I'd like to say a big thank you to our producer and director, Derek Seiko, who has just done a bang-up job all season long behind the scenes and has really taken our broadcasts to a whole different level. Of course, my colleague for this one, Nick Bacon, some of the guys who helped me out behind the scenes all season long, Dane Schaff, Chandler Veet, and Chris Meza, all part of the crew who helped bring you Grip and Rip Baseball live and free right here on YouTube. So 5-4, your final score. The Springfield Metropolitans are the champions here in 2020. For all those involved, my name is Rance Berger. I'm wishing you a good night and farewell from Ozark, Missouri.